we have to wait till 5?
No, it said 4:50.
Oh, okay.
We wanted to make sure we had time to call to order
Gotcha.
and do roll call, not on their time.
Okay, welcome to the special meeting of Deer Creek Board of Education at the PAAC. This is March 1st, 2021, 4:50 p.m. Please, Secretary, call to order and roll call.
Lee?
Yes?
Mays? Here. Clay? Here. Barnes?
Here.
Sanford?
Here.
5 present. The time is 7:56.
Okay. First is business.
Sorry.
7:56? You were wishing it was 7:56. Is that what? That's probably what it was. 4:56. Okay. All right. Business item B. We're going for the presentation.
Yes.
Okay. First one is are these timed?
Yes. 25 minutes.
Are you timing or am I timing?
Well, she'll know whenever.
You're timing.
Would you like for her to raise her hand when it's about 3 minutes till the
Yes.
end of 5?
That'd be great.
Their time, they want to get going.
Yeah.
This should take no more than 2 hours on our part.
If we have 5 minutes left, Catherine will raise her hand. How's that? And that way
Perfect.
we can get some question and answer in as well.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. All right. First one is MA plus architecture.
Yes, thank you for having us today. We appreciate the opportunity so much since we've been here since your 2016 bond and helped you plan that. We are so excited to have the opportunity to interview with you again. These are a few familiar faces that some of you may have seen. I know we've got a lot of new board members, so for those new board members, probably not very familiar. Dr. Bard's may recognize some that's been on some of these projects, but we bring people on consistently as we need to hurry projects along or schedules change, but this is the entire group that's worked on your projects. But 4 main people have remained the same throughout the project. I'm Gary Armbruster. I'm principal architect and partner with MA Plus Architecture. I've been with the firm for over 25 years this year. I've worked on all 17 Deer Creek projects from the 2016 bond issue. I have a lot of experience in education design. I'm an accredited learning environment planner through the Association for Learning Environments, and I'm one of only 4 in the state of Oklahoma. I'm a national speaker on education-related design and security issues, and I'll be the lead designer and architect for your upcoming 2021 Deer Creek project. Kathy Lynch, as many of you know, would have loved to be here today. She was ill. She drove into work this morning, Renette and Jeff, and said, I'm going to be there, and too much information I won't give out, but she was not able to be here. I sent her home. So she really wanted to be here and fought to be here against me, and I said, no, you've got to go home. So Kathy has been on numerous projects, including the Deer Creek Middle School project. She is our schedule and budget expert. When you have an issue, you call Kathy. She gets things on schedule. Jeff knows that. We just call Kathy to do the Deer Creek Alumni project. I think we met within 24 hours, and she had the documents out within a week. So she is our go-to person for that. She will be heading up all of our scheduling and budgeting on the upcoming bond issue. That's what her expertise is. That's what she will be doing for this project.
Hi, my name is Trisha Rawlings. A few of you might actually recognize me from our Deer Creek 4th and 5th grade construction tour we took a couple of years ago. I am I am a licensed architect as well as one of the primary project managers for all of our Deer Creek schools projects. I've been working with your school district since 2016, and I oversee all of our design teams as well as work with our construction managers to make sure that all of our projects are exceeding your design expectations as well as coming in on time as well as under budget.
And I'm Andrea Durbin, and I'm the Director of Interior Design here at MA Plus Architecture. I have been on all of your Deer Creek projects for this last bond issue, helping Renette and Jeff come up with your standards for the district. I have over 15 years experience in interior design, and I am a proud patron and parent of a Deer Creek student.
And so as this graphic comes up, I want to demonstrate who MA Plus is. We have 3 offices over the state of Oklahoma, one in Norman, one in Weatherford, one in Oklahoma City. But as all these red dots pop up, They are signifying over 600 education projects totaling over $750 million in education projects over our 52-year time frame. We have a very collaborative architecture and interior design team. Not all architecture firms involve the interior design team at the very beginning, and Renette, as you know, Andrea's been here from day one, and she's all the way through the project, and so I would encourage you to make sure that you have a full team from beginning to end. We have an in-house construction superintendent that used to work for a construction company. Now he works for us. He does a lot of our constructability reviews, Mike Lynch. He's the one out here for the 3 a.m. concrete pours that we have here at Deer Creek, and so he knows the Deer Creek process. We have a history of maintaining budget and schedule at Deer Creek that we'll talk about here in a little bit more, and we are very excited about the opportunity to interview with you all today.
One of my favorite parts of our process and things that we do here at MA Plus is we've started our Architects for Education back in 2016, and since then we have raised over $80,000 to give back to our school districts. So this is something that it's really near and dear to my heart as being part of the school district and my child being part of the district. So in the photos on this slide, you can see where we've brought in school supplies just last year, as well as sponsored some of the back to school meals for the teachers. We're also very active in your Blue Tie event. So this is from a couple years ago, and that's us and CMS Willbrook, along with Jeff, having a good time at the Blue Tie event that night. That cutie there on the left of your screen is my 4th grade student, and she is right there supervising the Prairieville interior renovation. So as you can see, I love this district. I'm part of this district, and I would be super honored to be able to continue to work with you all for the years to come.
Talk a little bit about our project experience with Deer Creek. Back in 2016, we started the process of bond planning with you, working with CMS Willbrook, Renette, Jeff, James, everybody involved. Created this document that went forward to the Board of Education outlining what projects would be done. There's more projects on here that we outlined as possible shopping lists for you. This is an image of us during one of the many planning sessions that we did with you. Our marketing and graphic design team, as part of our basic services, donates their efforts back to Deer Creek to formulate some of the bond information. So vote yes signs, yard signs, signs for kids' backpacks. Anything you can think of that we can help you with, we can help your graphic design department come up with whatever you need to promote the bond. We also do that with Oklahoma City Public Schools. This is an image from the many videos we did for their Pathway to Greatness program. We just recently finished doing it in 2019 with Norman Public Schools, where we are their only on-call architect, and we've helped them on all of their bond projects to promote that and pass that bond. And we've been doing it since 2008 with Mustang Public Schools, and James, I know your wife works there and probably knows our name quite a bit. As we look forward to Deer Creek, we want to talk about master planning real briefly. We've been master planning Mustang since 2008. But one of the things I want to point out in the upper right-hand corner, the colorful picture, that's SWOSU, that's Southwestern Oklahoma State University in Weatherford. We've been their only architect for the past 20 years, and I think that says a lot about who we are as a firm. They keep hiring us. We've actually interviewed there 4 different times, and they hire us again and again and again because we do what we say we're going to do. They trust us, they trust our judgment, and they want us to stay on board. Safety and security is also part of our firm. I was appointed by the Lieutenant Governor to serve as the only architect on the Oklahoma School Security Commission. That was formed after the Sandy Hook shootings. Since then, I've become a national speaker on school security related issues. This is me speaking actually at OSSBA. And since then, me and along with 2 other people nationwide have started a school security certification program. COVID kind of stopped that, put the brakes on it a little bit, but hoping to get that started again later this year. And that's a certification program that we will create that school district officials, architects, engineers can take and become certified and have a better understanding of how to design better and safer schools. This is a list of some of our school district experience. We know that we work here at Deer Creek and a few of the surrounding areas, but you may not know that we work all over the state of Oklahoma. Whether it's at Edmond Public Schools or Norman Public Schools, this is our new Enid Performing Arts Center project. our Mustang Performing Arts Center that's coming up. We have a lot of experience working with projects statewide. Storm shelter design, speaking of school security, going into that, we have a lot of storm shelter experience, including building it right next door here at the PAC for your pom, cheer, and wrestling editions. But storm shelters don't just have to be a big gray box. As you know, it can be a useful space. And this is just some of the examples of spaces we've done, whether it's a library at Edmond Public Schools, Ida Freeman, or at Canadian Valley Tech Center in the yellow, that's a corridor. We have Marsha on our team. She's part of the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code officials, and so she actually helps create the laws around storm shelters for Oklahoma. She is an architect and a senior associate on our team and helps design our storm shelter project. Gyms and athletic experience is also part of our team. We're just giving you a good recap of who we are as a firm. Have a lot of that. Oklahoma City Public Schools in the upper left-hand corner, that's the Taft Stadium where the Oklahoma City Energy play. And in the middle, in the far lower right, that's the new Enid PAC.
Interior design is always a big part of the project because that's what everyone sees when it's complete. And as Gary mentioned earlier, it's really important for the interior design team to be part of the project from the very beginning so that the building looks cohesive and doesn't look like it's segmented into two different projects. So these are just a few examples of some of the interior design projects that we've done most recently. And also we have a ton of elementary school experience. So not only have we done your wonderful 4th and 5th grade center that my daughter attends, we also have most recently done a elementary school for homeless children, Positive Tomorrows in Oklahoma City, as well as work for Edmond Public Schools and Mustang Public Schools, just to name a few. Flexible learning is also very important. It's really important because your square footage, each square foot costs a certain amount, and so we want you to have the most bang for your buck when it comes to the building and your patrons' money. I know that's important to me as a taxpayer here. So the more flexible we can make your spaces, the more uses and the more movable furniture and everything can be, the more bang you get for your buck when it comes to your square footage. Now, also, we didn't end up doing furniture for your bond project, but our interior design team does have a lot of experience doing furniture. It's kind of the icing on the cake. We've curated over 2 million square feet of furniture.
3D visualization is probably one of our fun and exciting basic services that we get to offer all of our clients. This is where we take your vision and turn it into a 3D representation of what your building is going to look like before it ever breaks ground or ever gets constructed. These are just a few of the many renderings that we've created for some past projects. We're also going to show a video of a demo clip of 3D animated animations that we can also create. These are actually really fun just to kind of broadcast as a wow factor to the public, for your patrons to get them excited for upcoming projects. We also offer the ability to virtually walk through every single one of our projects. This is something that Renette and I have actually done quite frequently in the past couple of months with the Deer Creek Transition Center. We've actually gone in and virtually walked through all of these spaces, discussed our design, and have made changes right there at a click of a button. The most exciting thing about our visualization services is that all of this is offered in-house. This means that we don't have to outsource any of these renderings or videos. We just walk over to Marty, who's our director of our rendering department, and discuss with him the types of renderings we want to see, or the movies or animations, and he gets on that right away. And if we ever need to make any of the changes, that if you guys see a final product and you want to make a tweak here and there, it's something that we can talk with Marty, and it gets done, within the week.
We have a lot of experience with CMs. Obviously, here at Deer Creek, we've been working with CMS Willbrook the past 5 years. In fact, we've done over $100 million in projects, and that doesn't just include Deer Creek. That's Deer Creek, Norman Public Schools, Canadian Valley Technology Center, just to name a few. We have a lot of experience with them. But besides that, we are also currently working with all 4 of the CMs that you're interviewing tonight. So no matter who you choose, we have experience with a plethora of CMs across the state of Oklahoma.
Talking a little bit more about the experience that we've gained here in Deer Creek. So over the past 5 years, we've worked with Renette, Jeff, James, as well as your Deer Creek and your district, your staff members, to basically create a standard design standards across the board of your district. You can see some of their finished selections from the color board images that you see on the presentation screen. We also have created this booklet. This houses all of our architectural and engineering design standards. These are the things that you guys have told us that you want. We've documented all of them and made sure that anytime we design a project, that we incorporate these. So this helps us as architects not only give you guys a project that you want because you've told us what you want, but also help us make that design process a lot quicker because we don't have to spend hours and hours or days and weeks discussing what you guys already want. It's all right here in that booklet.
And it's important to note that this didn't exist when we came on board. It was through the hard work of Jeff, Burnett, James, and our team to really formulate the standards that have been started here at Deer Creek to allow you to save money and keep things on schedule.
And just like Gary said, over the past 5 years, we have worked with you guys to help curate a bunch of projects. These are just a few of the 17 different projects that we have designed for you over the past 5 years. This is another video. I get to talk over videos today, guys. This is just another video that we've created. This one showcases your district as well as all of the projects that we've designed for you over the past 5 years. This is also, I'd like to take an introduction and say that this is also something that we can provide for you guys to help promote and advertise this upcoming bond project to your district. We can showcase the district, we can showcase all of the projects that you guys might include in your bond, and anything else that you might think that your patrons of the Deer Creek School District would be really excited about to go and vote yes when the bond comes up in September. So like I had said, we've worked on 17 different projects over the past 5 years. 12 of these projects have already been completed. They're already done and constructed. 4 of these projects are currently under construction right now. This is the Grove Valley interior renovation project, the Grove Valley classroom addition project that you can see coming up on the screen. One of these projects, the Deer Creek Transition Center, is currently under design. This project is actually going to go out to bid here in the next couple of weeks, so we'll be breaking ground pretty shortly on that, so it'll be really exciting. I'd like to mention that 10 of these 17 projects were included in your 2016 bond. That means 7 of them were not. Just with our ability as architects to design these projects and work with our construction managers to make sure that they are constructed on time and under budget, we have allowed the ability to give you guys back money to the district, which has given us the opportunity to design an additional 7 different projects totaling over $11 million that was not included in the original 2016 bond. As we kind of near the end of this video, we're going to zoom into the current 4th and 5th grade center project site. I'm going to touch base back on what we can do for you as far as bond videos or bond showcase. It's going to actually flip over here to a projected potential expansion site. This is cutting in a build-up view plane. This is something that we can provide for you for any of the additions or any other construction projects that you might want to showcase to your district to get all of your patrons really super excited for going out and voting yes for this upcoming bond.
So talk a little bit about the possible bond projects. Even though we just showed you what a future could look like, we know that the board and the administration has not necessarily decided anything about what the future bond looks like. So one of the things we did, though, when we master planned the 4th and 5th grade site is where could a future building go and would it fit on this site? So that's why we're showing it to you. You've got 5 minutes. So whether it's building something exactly like the 4th and 5th grade center that maybe could be used as 2 separate elementary schools or a 5th and 6th grade center, whatever you want, we have master planned that site and have the drawings available for that. Renette wanted to remind you and Jeff and James that we actually designed a prototype elementary school back in the day, back in 2016 when we were looking at multiple sites for 2 new elementary schools. We never got that far, but we do have a prototype elementary design in place. Should we need to pull that out of the door and revisit that? At Deer Creek Intermediate School Refresh, we have all the design drawings in CAD and Revit ready to go. They're in our archives and ready to start design on those projects. At Rose Union, the same thing. And at Spring Creek, the same thing. We have all those plans. In fact, we have all of your plans for your school projects in our CAD and Revit files ready to go. That's why we've been able so quickly have been able to start projects and finish them, just like the Alumni Hall demolition project. Been able to do that in less than a week's time is a pretty cool thing because we can do that so quickly. Looking at bond schedule, it's a little bit hard to read, but on the very far left side, these are the 7 months up to the bond vote. So far left side, we are on March 1st, 2021. That's today. You're going to pick an architect and a CM. And right under that, it says start meeting with the architect and CM. So you really need to start meeting that month to hit that future possible September 14th, 2021 bond date, should it go at that time. There's a lot of steps in between that. We have 7 months to do it, but just kind of an idea of the time frame that it takes to properly plan a bond project. And I think we all did a pretty good job in 2016 getting everything on budget and on schedule. So as we complete our presentation, there's just a few bullet points that I want to hit. MA Plus values, student well-being. We have Deer Creek parents on our team. Renette, anytime you've called and said, hey, we've got a golf tournament or I need someone to sponsor a teacher event, we've been here to do that and said yes without hesitation every time. MA Plus saves you time and money. We created the Deer Creek standards. Because of that, we're able to hit the ground running quickly to get projects designed on schedule and under budget, saving you valuable time. MA Plus is a great team player. We've not only done $100 million worth of work with CMS, which I'd mentioned earlier, but we have worked with all 4 of the CMs that you're interviewing tonight. And MA Plus listens to you. And by listening to you, we don't over-design our projects. And I think that is a testament to show that all the savings that you got from the 2016 bond didn't come from projects that were over-designed. They were designed properly. They were not fancy, but they were beautiful. They fit the Deer Creek standard, but they weren't super expensive, allowing you to save time and valuable money. MA Plus is responsive. When challenges arise, we respond quickly to those. I think Jeff, if he's still here, I think I've already said this, when he called, within 24 hours we were meeting, and within a week you had design drawings ready to go. I think that's a pretty responsive attempt from an architect. And finally, we have the confidence to deliver. And Jeff and Renette, do you really want to train another architect to do your projects? And I laugh at that because that's what Swasu said after the first interview. We'd been there a few years, and the physical plant manager said, I don't want to train another architect. I've got this one trained to do what I want to do. Not that you do that, but we do know your standards. We understand Deer Creek. We have parents on the team, and we really, really value our relationship with you and hope that we get to do it again with you for this next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a question? You've got a minute. Any questions? I think you've done an excellent job depicting what we've done thus far, so thank you.
Thank
Really.
you.
If you haven't checked out your
Viewmasters?
your boxes there, there's some fun things in there for you to
Those
look
are
at.
all current Deer Creek projects. Not all of them, but some of the other ones that we've created since 2016. So hope you enjoy those.
Something fun.
Something fun.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
Thank you all
much.
very much. Thank you. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you coming today.
Do you know
Yes,
when you'll
thank you
be
for having
making
us.
a decision?
As you noted, it needs to be done relatively quickly. There'll probably be a discussion. I really don't have a discussion and vote tonight.
Okay.
So next Monday night, we have a board meeting, and it's likely we'll have a discussion with a possible vote.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should one of these. What? No, we don't
Got the long night.
One down, seven to go.
It's an enjoyable night, though. This is an enjoyable evening.
Good deal. All I'm going to do is myself. I'm Mike Stacy with Stacy Group. I'm the owner and run one of our studios.
I'm Jody President, City Design.
And Sean will be. He's going to be out of breath.
Okay, Catherine back here will give you kind of when there's 5 minutes left, and then
Okay.
she'll hold it 3, just so that if you want to kind of wrap up and let them ask some questions. But just to give you a kind of a timing thing here.
There's only 2 ways that a USB can go in, and it always takes 3 times to get it in. I don't know why that is. Inevitably.
And the next group will be the Stacy Group.
Yes, this is the
On the
state.
PowerPoint, once again.
That's us. We're the Stacy Group.
This is-
I was just making a
Sometimes it's Mac.
watching live stream.
You want to tell them? No.
No. I was announcing for all the YouTubers out there.
Oh. Too good to get my best out.
They don't have this in front of them.
Just want you to know that we did at least angle the table at first. The camera was straight from the back. So we realized as we began to look at it that maybe that would not be your favorite alignment. So you're a little more angled and you don't see the screen quite as well, but the audience view of you is a better.
There you go.
Okay.
We introduced ourselves while you were.
Oh, did you? I'm
Yes.
Sean Willis. Sorry, I'm home. I'm project architect at Studio Office Studio.
We appreciate the opportunity to come and visit with you this afternoon, or I guess it's evening now. I started the Stacy Group in 2005. We're 16 years old now. We have 2 different offices, one in Owasso and one in Edmond, just down the street, not too far from here. We are solely an education firm. We don't do market any work other than educational work. I think that makes us a little unique, and it also makes us a lot more focused on educational projects to keep up with current codes and trends and things that are important in a school district that you need to address.
We don't start a project coming off a hotel or a bank or a hospital, have to kind of rethink how does school go together, what's important, what are the new trends. We all day, every day, those are our passion.
Because of that, it helps us with several things. I mentioned the trends, but also speed. We can put together a project a lot more quickly than a lot of folks out there because we're not relearning something every time. We have that experience in the educational facility. When we start doing schematic design, we're laying it out to meet code. We're laying it out to go ahead and be in the right. We don't have to convert it later to a construction document. We can take that through the entire process. It also helps us with cost control. We bid somewhere between 25 and 30 projects a year. So we've got a pretty good finger on the pulse of what's going on in the bid market and cost trends that are out there. We also, because we've been doing this for a long time, myself, way back into the 90s when I was starting out, I worked for an educational firm back then, and so I've been in the educational trend for a long time, and we understand how schools have evolved and developed from a security and safety standpoint in that amount of time as well.
They're an integral part of the design. It's not an afterthought or trying to make sure security is thought about from day one to play out of building.
Technology is a big deal. They make fun of me because I get geeked out about IT, because it's not just information technology, but instructional technology has a big impact on our design work and how we approach a school. Not just smart boards, but you can do smart walls, smart rooms, to the point of VR labs that are really far advanced, and then that's become even more important with STEM and STEAM as they've become an integral part of our design work as well.
So, and obviously it's all part of that. Without healthy students, you're not going to learn. So part of the process makes the building healthy. That's not necessarily just green. Green is energy efficient portion for you and for your budget. That's healthy for the students. So
In green schools, I think it's important to differentiate. There's a lot of people that are like, well, I want to go get Green Globe certified or some kind of certification on the building. And while that can be important, you have to understand that if you want some of those certifications can have to do if you have an electric car pickup loop. And I'm like, well, how does that make your building more efficient? It doesn't. So there is a difference between efficiency and green building in the way that you approach that design.
so communication is number one for us. Later on, we have some visuals of some of our past projects. Not one of them is our ego. We bring our expertise to the table and try to bring your vision to life. We don't ever force a design or think that we're the architects and we know better. We just facilitate your ideas into reality. So communication all around is super important.
We're here to help guide you through that process, not to overrun any thoughts or ideas that you have. For me, the best compliment that we get is when we finish a project and someone wants to go tour that project as the school's giving that tour, and the response is, well, we did this because of that. And it's not they did this, it's we did this, because it's a team effort all the way through.
Part of that is going with standards, the school standards that set from interior design, from what type of ceilings and everything you want to fit throughout all of the campuses. We try to make sure we focus on what you all as a district want to see, so things pass.
You can afford the building cost a little easier than the maintenance cost. We don't want to design a building that's going to eat you up maintenance cost year after year. We want to design a building that's going to last and be durable and withstand kids and activities.
We're fully capable to handle the project and get started on any programs that you have immediately. We don't interview for a lot of work. We typically stay very busy. We don't want to come talk to someone if we don't feel like we can staff it and handle the projects and get after it. We feel confident we can help you out.
One of the unique things I think about our firm is the team you see here, the team that'll be there from day one, from kickoff meetings through construction is the same team. We don't have a planning team and a construction drawing team and a construction team. We think it's important that we're sitting down that first day to say, how is this going to lay out? And there's some very important ideas that we want conveyed in your building. And then during construction, the contractor says, well, I've had this wall, it's off a little bit. Well, I don't have to go back to the office and say, what was that about? I know, but that's what you wanted. Say, no, right now we need to change that back. So it gives you what you want from the beginning and speeds up construction, because that's where the problems are going to be. And there's no plan B. You have to be in your building on time, right? So we're not going to be the ones holding it up during construction. We're going to facilitate it and stuff.
Now, he says that we'll be there throughout. I'm there anytime there's food around and available. I'm the first guy there, but day to day, Sean would be the person that you'd have contact with on the project and deal with all the
And
time.
the important thing is, we're obviously contracted to do construction meetings, but we don't just show up to the job site every 2 weeks when there's a meeting or when something happens. We're down the road, we'll show up both unannounced at any time to check and see what's going on, so we can catch things by surprise. And they call and say, hey, I have a question. It's not, well, I can't get there 2 weeks. That's when our meeting is. Sorry, you guys on the street. It's no big deal. We'll take care of it. And I think that, again, will go a long way to getting your building open fast.
We do a lot of storm shelters. We started doing them a long time ago when you could still do them as just a safer room, not necessarily a full-blown FEMA standard room. Through the current FEMA standards, and we've done quite a bit of that, over 100 of them throughout multiple districts. We've been fortunate to get a lot of awards. We haven't done any in a while. It's interesting. We don't go after the awards for our benefit. That's generally the school that wants to have some recognition for the time and effort in the community to see what they've had. So we're happy to do that. We just haven't done anything in a while. Most of our clients are like, no, we're good. We don't need to do that right now. So we haven't. But we do have quite a long list of awards that we've won through the years. This really is the best and only marketing tool that we have. It's our references. I encourage everyone that if you know someone on that list or districts around you, obviously Yukon, Edmond, Piedmont are all right here around, to reach out and visit with them about the work that we do and how we approach our work. That's the best marketing that we have is our reputation and the way we do things. I know you talked about an elementary school or grade center. We've done a bunch. That's just a short list in the last few years of the projects we've done that were new facilities.
We understand there may either be on-site, sort of a duplication of what's there, or maybe a 6th, 7th, 8th grade center that we brought. An example of what project is in Yukon. It's a media for the 4th, 5th, 6th, but similar idea to having grade centers, same building, kind of connected, but also isolated from each other.
This is a really cool building. The STEM lab part of this and each one of those grade pods is a pretty phenomenal space. They've got actual lab spaces on each side with garage doors that open up and expand into the middle. I think it's really cool if you're doing, if they're doing hands-on learning and they're doing projects that you can go in and open up those STEM labs and create a bigger space. We're seeing media centers trending down in size, libraries trending down because they're becoming more mobile, and they'll bring that into that pod or that grade area for that learning, for whatever that learning cycle is, and do project-based learning, and then they have the resources right there to do those projects in that space, which is a really neat idea and process for them to do.
So you can see the pod here. This is 6th grade. It does have science embedded in here. The idea was each pod, grade level, has their own functions. They can kind of sustain themselves in this pod and kind of only go out special for lunch. So the restrooms are in there, the science in there, the breakout room, the conference room, testing, all of those function in that space. With that pod, that open group area, it functions for STEM, group classes, the doors open there, it can go into the hall, so tried to make it inclusive as we could.
Well, it also helps with bad weather days when they're inside in the break or whatever the case may be. And in light of the last year that we've spaced, when it deals with containment, keeping those kids isolated from kind of a school within a school idea. So if something came up, you don't necessarily lose the entire facility, but maybe just a portion thereof from an isolation standpoint.
There's some images of that group area, how it works, how it's really large. You can have one group out there at a time, 2, 3, 4, and the STEM rooms can open, slide out into that space as well for doing the project. There's local STEM embedded, and then a big STEM room centrally located. It might have some power equipment, but that small project has here. We talked earlier about embedding security in the design. That means here's an example of, we all have to know what secure roads are now. Which evolve several layers over time. But we also lay out the building in a very clear and concise manner. So the hallways are straight. You don't have a bunch of angled hallways where somebody can hide behind. The dots show camera locations for a teacher. So 3 teachers can stand there and kind of clear the main hallways of that building. You don't have a bunch of weird spaces, and that's very important nowadays to have safe and functional schools. Then again, each pod can be secured off. So if you did come into the building, those doors can be on panic buttons. Those doors can automatically shut and lock. You kind of create that layering effect of the building.
Well, and it also, so some of the things that have happened security-wise in the last few years is it's also become, if you can isolate that corridor, that main space, and know that you have a safe group in a smaller area, it allows authorities to get there and get people out of that section of the building to take away some of those potential threats.
Another idea, example of incorporating STEM for STEAM now into those spaces is very well. So it's sort of can be incorporated, that curriculum kind of be incorporated into all the classes at the same time, not just kind of isolation.
Well, and like that student display area it also doubles as, like the mobile library we talked about, where you can bring in, references or equipment to do that, to do the research for those projects.
I know schools are never finished. It's like as much as you want to try to play in a building and build it one time and never touch it again, it's like fast grow, there's always a need to expand. And we've always done our buildings to have that functionality, that growth in mind. So, an example of a building that could be built one phase and then added a group of classrooms, the pods could be added over time. We plan for those so it looks correct. And not putting utilities in the ground, it's going to have to move later, put a pod on the ground, not spending money twice. That both happens in site plan, but also in how big you build your cafeteria, kitchen, and your library, and all those common spaces that they need to be large enough to plan for that growth, so you don't get landlocked.
This is about circulation, just has become so important, the difference in cars and buses and, daycare buses, different special needs buses, just being able to isolate and separate transportation, not have a bunch of stacking on the road, that's always important.
And it's because it's small, as making sure your fire suppression is subbed out to where the distance is going to be, so that when you do go add on, they don't have to tear ceilings out all the way back through the building to connect to the fire line. Those things that get overlooked, and again, cost extra money, you're spending money twice.
We also like to look at the building in a couple different ways. We tend to stick to a core space where we keep kind of those public functions that we can isolate the students away from those central areas, but it also allows you to use the building in the evenings or for board meetings or whatever the case may be, where you can lock out the rest of the space and just keep that core area open to utilize the gym or the library, whatever the case may be, cafeteria, to keep that core kind of protected but open to the public when you need it.
Next several slides are projects, how projects are done. Jody can clearly tell you, we think it's very important. Budgets are super important. No plan, it's bond is design budget. Color is free, right? So there's lots of things we can do with color and things to increase the budget, but go along with it. It'll be nice for wayfinding, signage.
From what signage, just little things here and there, if you're gonna paint the wall, might as well add a little bit extra to have the kids be able to identify, or if there's anybody throughout the building, I'm gonna go this way to the sixth grade pod, or it could be verbiage that helps, like Yukon, verb, intermediate, they wanted all the pods to take color, but use descriptive words for the fourth, fifth grade. So we kind of did a little bit more signage there that kind of help with the kids and the.
And some of the things we can do with heritage, and they wanted it to be a learning tool. So the center core of the building is Edmund Heritage. One side of the building is Oklahoma Heritage, and the phase we're finishing out now is United States History Heritage. So those walls have a timeline from early pre-Oklahoma history all the way to current time. We're doing the same thing on the other end. So that becomes a learning tool for the kids to see the day-to-day. So it's designed, it is a learning tool.
And this is an example of the phasing. I think we did the first phase of this several years ago. I don't remember
Phase one would have
exactly.
been 2013, 14,
Yeah.
and now we're doing the line.
So an example of phased construction that we had there. Frontier. We've done a lot of elementaries here around you in the last few years. Well, we've gone longer than I thought we would. I could have told you everything I knew pretty quickly. So we're happy to answer any questions that you might have, or if you see any of those images that raise a question, please feel free to ask. And
Do your projects typically come at budget, under budget, above budget?
we, at or under budget, we are very particular about our budgets and the way we approach projects. Now, I will tell you, if it's a big bond program where you're doing a $100 million bond program, as you get into the more specific design, obviously you're not getting super integral before the bond passes, and as the needs change, if a district comes in and they say, we want to massage this building and maybe it may be a little bit bigger than what they originally planned, and this one may be a little bit smaller, but as a whole, we're always, I can't think of a time that we've gone over on a project on a bond program before. We know it's very important, and that doesn't matter whether it's construction management or general contracting. It doesn't matter. We take that really seriously. You know, three things have to happen. It has to meet budget, or there's not a project. It has to function right, or you'll never be able to utilize the space. And then the easy part's making it look good.
I was fortunate several years ago. I don't know, were any of the current board members with us
For
when
the last
when
bond?
we toured Heritage one year? And gosh, it makes me feel old. All you guys are new. But I was really impressed with the vision that y'all had with the murals. You know, a building to a kid is just a building, but when they're inside and they see that thing, I think that's impressive, and it gives them some more educational experience just when they're in the halls too. I think that showed really good vision on y'all's part to do that.
I appreciate that. It's interesting. People used to ask me all the time, why do you do educational work? And I was like, because I remember what my elementary classroom looked like. I remember what the halls were like. I remember going through that. And we get to have an impact on that experience for scores of kids to get to see that. And it has an impact for the rest of your life. You'll remember that stuff. So why can't we take that brown box that used to be the brown box that was or baby blue in most cases inside, or aqua green, and then turn around and let's make that a learning tool. Let's make it vibrant. Let's make it something that can be utilized by the teachers to really grow from there.
And as I touched on earlier, those themes aren't things we bring to the table. It's like,
Well,
bring
we
us a
can.
theme. We'll help with that process. But
Yeah.
Somebody's like, you know what, like Central, for example, there's a tree there with the seasons, and we have mosaics, right word, but panels on the wall that talk about, you know, birds and growth and parts of plants that get permanently built into the wall. And those ideas we help develop, we're not going to say, you can really do it.
That was all the school district. They wanted to focus their systems over what they did with science off the school. So that's what they kind of did off there for them.
And Stone Canyon and Owasso, they're a city of character. So the school is a school of character. Each pod has a character trait with an animal associated with it. Whether it's an ant, hard work, it's bees and teamwork. And so each pod kind of takes on to that characteristic for the year, the kids. And they have sort of competitions between them on their food drives and things like that.
It's pretty cool when you go in there and it's the butterflies versus ladybugs as they're going in for the can drive or whatever it is. It gives a sense of ownership to the kids in the space that they're in. That's not very many questions.
How do you guys do, like for the bond proposal, are you guys involved in that process? Do you help us market that?
Absolutely. We can do any still boards that you want, images, video, whatever you need us to do to help that. We'll even come and talk, but I have a face made for radio, so you may not want that. But we'll come and visit with the bond committees or the public any way you want us to, give you all the imagery you need to do that, whether it's a board or a video or whatever means you need to promote it.
Okay, thanks.
It's pretty easy when we start talking about it from our standpoint to say, oh yeah, this will be great, this building, because I can visualize that really quickly, but the general public oftentimes doesn't. And so it's evolved. Used to be, it was a floor plan, which most people don't understand, but we do. And then it became, well, let's give elevations. And then those evolved into renderings and 3D imagery of the buildings. And now it's gone to full-blown, renderings that are 3D flybys or fly-arounds or fly-throughs to be able to actually understand what that space is going to look like.
It helps to get buy-in. People understand what.
Okay.
I will say, we did the stadium at Memorial, and when we were looking at that stadium, when we came in with our concept, after visiting with them, and we came in, we did a fly-in on a game night, and actually in the video, you can hear that we're just around the corner from them, so we went and got a recording of the band playing the fight song, and we put it in the video. Wow, you talk about people getting excited about an image when you can tie in some kind of local theme like that.
Any other questions? Okay, Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Hello. We're good, thank you. Are you guys worn out yet?
Not yet. Still awake.
Have you eaten?
These have all done projects. No.
It's coming up after yours, so we may be a little distracted, sorry.
Okay, this is Catherine, and Catherine will give you a signal at 5 minutes and then at 3, so that if you want to allow a little time for questions, that we can do that.
25 total. 25 minutes total.
Okay.
All right, we ready to go?
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all. We're with LWP&B and want to thank you for the opportunity to present our qualifications today. My name is Christian Ballard. I'm a principal at LWP&B. I've had 20 years of experience in education design, and here with Jeff Wagner. He's our education sector director, and Angie Clarkson, who is the head of our interior design. Our presentation will come in 4 parts. We're going to tell you a little bit about LWP&B. We're going to talk about educational design trends, talk about our experience and our commitment to you. This right here is just a sample listing of all the elementary schools we've done. We've done many more, but it gives you an idea of the breadth of work that we've done. We have 17 licensed architects. We've been in business for 58 years, so we're the longest standing education firm in Oklahoma, K through 12. And we have the most number of licensed staff on our firm, in our firm. As you can see there, 80% of our work is from repeat clients. This is an organizational structure that you would see. I know you have a lot of projects, but your contact would always be us top 3. And as we work through, you can see the certain members of our team that you'd be working with.
That's what we look like.
Yeah. We're not standing in the right order, though. But.
You're not.
So you can see we work throughout the state. Here are some of our current clients. The blue circle there represents where we're standing right now. We're less than 10 miles directly south on MacArthur. So we're here for you. And this shows some of the design awards in the last 10 years.
But we're going to leave you the brochure that you can look at your leisure.
All right, so Kristen mentioned my name is Angie Clarkson. I'm an interior designer by education, but I love schools. I love public education. I love kids. I love teachers. I'm the child of a teacher. I do not have the temperament for classroom management. That was not a good place for me. But what we really wanted to kind of step back a little bit and just kind of talk about schools and about education design, just a little bit. So we're going to start kind of with a quote. You may or may not have seen this before, but it's a good one. We are currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't yet been invented in order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. So we're talking about some serious challenges, but also some really exciting opportunities. Here's another one. If you wanted to create an education environment
that was directly opposed to what the brain was good at doing, you would probably design something like a classroom. I bet every adult in the room has a really good feeling about what this room is because we all went to this classroom, right? And this is what classrooms in the U.S. have looked like for about 100 years. Things really just haven't changed a lot. But if we kind of widen our lens a little bit and we think about what the highest performing and most innovative education systems are across the U.S. and really around the world, we start to see a very different picture. You've already got some of these things happening in your district, so this shouldn't really be a huge surprise to you, but education is a lot more student-centered than it used to be. Even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even last year, your teachers are already thinking about new ways to make the classroom experience more student-centered. What we want to do is find a way to make your physical environment really support what your teachers are already doing. Work is getting more collaborative, less isolated work, more group work, more movement, more multi-sensory stimulation. Again, you guys have got a lot of wonderful opportunities. Your teachers are already doing a bunch of these wonderful, magical things that are everything that a kid is supposed to have for their development. But what we want to do is make sure that you've got physical environments that can support that. More active learning, less passive learning. And again, we understand that actual classroom pedagogies and teaching practices are evolving all the time. So again, this is about our responsibility as design professionals is to come up with ways to build that flexibility into your physical space so that your teachers can do what they need to do and the classroom experience can evolve over the life of your building. Jeff's going to talk to us a bit about some specific projects and how we've taken these sorts of principles and incorporated them into our work.
So we're going to show you just an older project at elementary school and then another one and then 2 middle schools. I think, from what I know, that fits the age group of what you're talking about and would be the most relevant. This first school is an elementary in Sapulpa, and this was the merger of 2 existing schools into one. The layout was a traditional finger plan with all the core support spaces in the center. Each one of these wings was identified by a special color to help with wayfinding. And then where those all came together in the center, we used all the colors, and you can see here on the right, we created an art piece. And this was a metaphorical bridge. This is on a historic site, so it was a bridge from the past to the future, a bridge between these 2 school communities. And Sapulpa had Frankoma. Are y'all familiar with Frankoma pottery? They were very proud of their history with Frankoma, and Frankoma had closed down just as we were in design on this project. And we brought the master glazer out of retirement to make these pieces that are displayed on the right. So those are the last pieces of Frankoma that were ever made. And that's just a real source of pride in this school. Just another picture from that school interior. It's the media center. Another school that is a little more recent is 2 schools in Mid-Dell, Midwest City Elementary and Soldier Creek Elementary. These were each 110,000 square feet, so it's 220,000 square feet of space. And the teachers requested that we use Oklahoma as a theme for the interior design of the projects. So we made sure, you can see on the bottom right, to have bison and scissortail flycatchers and Oklahoma animals. We also used the state song, which I'll get to for here in a second. This is the pod concept. You can see this is 3 pods on the top, the back of the building, and they're stacked. It's a 2-story building. And the state song, we used kites to symbolize wind, and we had rain and fields of wheat, lazy hawks. So this was our response to their request. This is the media center for both of those schools. Very simple materials, open grid, trying to stretch the money as far as we could. And here is a middle school. This is a little different. This is a 2-story wing that you see coming towards you. This is the new part. and it was also a big renovation. We gutted about 3/4 of the school and completely reorganized it. They had done some polling in the school, and the teachers all hated this school. Students didn't like it. They actually were losing enrollment from students not wanting to go from their newer elementary schools into this middle school. It was really dysfunctional. The plan on the left was their current school. On the right, you can see we added the wing in the back, the 2-story wing, and then we completely redid the inside. We relocated the admin. It was embedded into the center of the school, that little brown area. We moved it, enlarged it. Their cafeteria was their gymnasium, so we separated those two. We moved the kitchen. All this happened in their existing space. And here's some photos of before and after. On the left, you can see some existing clear story lighting that was, a lot of it, about 50% of it was totally blocked off. And what was there wasn't very effective. We opened all that up. These two pictures are taken from just about the same spot. So we took a bunch of classrooms and media center and converted that into their dining. Here, art room on the left. These are all in their existing space. On the right, you can see the top right photo is a math classroom, and the clear story lighting is just some translucent panels. Not very effective at all. So this bottom photo is taken from the exact same spot, opened all those classrooms up, and created a media center at that location.
So I just talked about the newest complete new school that we've got. Tops Middle School was for Putnam City Schools that opened this year. Kind of a rough year to start a brand new school, but a really exciting process. This building marks a pretty serious departure for how Putnam City has really approached school design, and new construction and classroom experience for sure. Something that was very important to Putnam City was getting a lot of community buy-in and really figuring out what education for Putnam City schools needed to look like in 10 years, in 20 years, in 40 years. And so a lot of what we did was conduct design workshops with a variety of stakeholders. We spent a few hours with high school students. Some of them had been in the old TOPS building, envisioning what a learner's average day would be like in 20 years. We spent a whole day working through individual spaces with teachers and thinking about how they work together as they were kind of having these directives coming from the curriculum level about how they wanted to change their classroom and instructional delivery methods. And then we certainly did workshops with administrative and curriculum staff. So at the end of this discovery process, what we came down to was a set of guiding principles that we use as a measuring stick to evaluate every design decision that we make. This is an unusual project, but this is the same kind of thing that we would do with any of our clients. What we want to do is understand what's going to make you be the best version of you. And in this case, we had some specific things that we were going for. We wanted more opportunities for collaborative learning. Their old building did not let them do that at all. Really to learn by teaching, to have more cross-pollinated core curriculum between teachers and subjects. And again, even when we were looking at budgets and design decisions, everything is measured in terms of what it does for teaching and learning. So these two images are kind of a blow-up and then the full property. If you see the image on the right, that's the property that Putnam City bought. It's very cool. It's a park. It has a creek running the whole way through it. And you wonder how in the world do you put a building next to the creek? We had a really strong relationship with our construction manager, and between the administrative teams and their leadership and our design team and the construction manager, we test fit. They're on the east side of the creek, they're on the west side of the creek. In the end, we actually spanned the creek with the building. So what you see on the west side is the noisy stuff, the current drop-off, the cafeteria, the gym, the electives, the really high-activity portions of the school. And then bridging the creek, what you get is what we call the media bridge. Like the media center has got learning and study rooms and kind of collaborative spaces like that. And then on the east side, you see those two things that look kind of, they almost look like bird wings. But on the bottom is the 6th grade. It's a single-story learning community. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then the 7th and 8th grade are a 2-story stacked volume. So just drilling down a little bit into what a learning community looks like. This is not look like the middle school that I went to, does it? We don't see corridors. We don't see We don't see closed spaces. What we see is an array of learning studios that can be self-contained, that can grow and change and open and close depending on what classroom activity is like. This gives our teachers a lot of choices that they've never had before. So as a quick just kind of context for CAPS, CAPS has about 300 students per grade. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it's 900 students right now, give or take 30. And then we plan the building to grow up to 1,200. That may or may not happen. They're kind of landlocked the way their district works. That may not be a huge issue, but we want to make sure that we've kind of taken care of that. You don't want to add bathrooms later. You want to make sure your PE classes are covered, all of that. But what you kind of see here, the way that we've kind of colored these zones is if each grade has got 3 interdisciplinary teams of 4 core teachers, suddenly the teachers have a lot of opportunities for how to group their classes. They can be together by subject. They can be within their interdisciplinary teams. There are opportunities for screen language arts teachers to do units together. But again, the sky's the limit. There are all these wonderful things our teachers want to do, and how can we make our spaces support those activities?
And there are science teachers all co-located between what's shown as Team 1 and Team 3. There's the 3 science teachers will all work together in that science suite.
Yeah, so each grade has got a maker lab and a traditional science lab and prep room with plus a large co-teaching area within the grade level. So we've got 3 sets of those. This is a quick example. You can see they had a pretty big wish list. There are all kinds of wonderful things that Putnam City Schools wanted. We have to figure out how to get double and triple duty out of every square foot. So we really start to drill down and think about how we use our technology and how we use furniture. I'm just going to flow through 3 pictures real quick. This is the same space. But we're seeing how quickly a teacher or 2 teachers or a classroom of students can restage that space. This area can seat 72 kids at tables. There's one of these in each learning community. But again, this is about giving teachers choices and really kind of opening up the physical space to support the teaching and learning that they're already trying to do. Couple more images because they're fun. This is a learning studio that's actually been opened up. You'd imagine that you did the first part of your lesson and then you're going to send your kids out to group work or to work individually to be able to open up the wall and let them kind of spread out. The reason that this works is because you've got so much visibility. This interior glass is what allows you to actually let the kids have a little more freedom because you can still monitor them. We kind of found out almost by accident, this school's been the best thing we've seen in the metro area for COVID. Because distancing is not a problem, the spaces are there, but the main thing is that the visibility is there so that we have enough adults to monitor students and make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing. The next photo he's going to show you is this same space, but something that's closer to complete, that's more complete. It looks like a tree house, it feels like a tree house because we've preserved as much of the natural environment as we could. I think there's one more slide here. Just a couple of exterior shots, but as you can see, we've got an exterior learning stair coming off the cafeteria, steps going down to the creek. Again, looking for opportunities to recapture space for teaching and learning inside the building and out. That was a lot, I'm sorry. But
So our commitment to you is to communicate and listen, be steward of your funds, think of life cycle costs, have student-centered designs, and be flexible and responsive to your and your staff needs. So we come to you. I mean, the reason why we're only 10 miles away, that's going to work out great for this relationship because, you know, Angie and Jeff have alluded to seeking your input on the design. There in the bottom left is what we call paper dolls, and that solution was created when we had the construction manager or constructor, the owner, and the architect all together collaborating. You can see just over to the right is the final floor plan. Just to the right of that is a rendering of the space, and then again on the far right is the after picture. So again, the sooner we get the team together, the greater chances of success.
This chart illustrates the life cycle cost of a building, of a school. This is from School Planning and Management magazine. And the green sliver at high noon there is our design cost for a project. And we have a huge impact on the construction cost, obviously, which is, you can see that blue to the right is the construction cost of the building. But we also need to keep in mind the impact of our decisions on your life cycle cost. Your operations and utilities and maintenance are by far the biggest cost life cycle in your building. And all of the members of our team, we do schools all the time, we understand that. We're always thinking about the impact of our decisions on you guys after we're gone. And that's very important to us as stewards of your funds, not only during construction, but beyond. We've got a great record of cost control during bidding, design through bidding. The last 40 projects we've done that have averaged 4% under estimate. And change orders, this is really an astounding statistic, have averaged just around 0.25% over the past 4 years. On the right, just wanted to illustrate to you guys that we have a very strong relationship with several of the CMs that you're interviewing. We're working with CMS, Lingo, and Manhattan all right now, currently on school. Freeman? And I can say that about bids. This proof is in the pudding. I wanted to take your neighbor district. These are the last 20 or so projects that we've done at Edmond. We've been working there for 21 years straight. And this is just a record of all the under budget, or just a little bit over budget. All projects finished on time or early. So you can check with them if you wish. They can validate all of this.
I just kind of want to show you our team. This is your flexible team, and kind of there in the second to bottom row, second row up, Dan Pruitt, one of our senior principals partners, has actually 8 grandchildren in your school district. So,
Have some personal ties.
That's a lot of
and we have some leave behinds that have more thorough letters of recommendation. These are just some quotes that we've taken out from them, and we'll leave those with you after our time is done here. And, again, we ask that you choose us. We're thankful for this opportunity. We really are the experts in K through 12 design, and we bring our passion. We have lots of relevant experience, and we really are committed to you. We have a commitment to you, your staff, your district, and to good design.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions?
For how long have each of you been with LWP&B? I am on year 11 right now. So I had 9 years at another was monster engineering firm before that.
So you were in education before that? Education design
I
before
have
that?
done some higher ed, and I've done a lot of higher ed.
Okay,
But I have not been to K-12, and I honestly, I like it.
gotcha. Okay.
And I've been with LWPD for 23 years this month.
Happy anniversary.
I'm a newer addition. I came on board in August, but Jeff and I actually interviewed here in, I think, around 2000 or 2001, but we were working for different companies. LWPD prides itself in being a multi-generational education firm. Jeff was hired at one point in time to take over education sector leader from Bob Wright, and he's looking to train me up in the LWPD way, which I'm clearly learning very quickly, but I have also had, I started working in K through 12 in 99, 2000, so lots of K through 12 experience.
I recruited him, got him last year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
We
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
you coming. Thank you so much.
We've got 8 of them again.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, the next one will be studio architecture.
Yes. You get your lunch break, your dinner break, and a restroom break. Restroom break and dinner. Restroom and dinner after this one. Now, there's a restroom right through that door, so if you need to take a break. What?
KD, oh, yay.
The guy gets out just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Hey, don't be talking bad about me.
Mike said you're the smartest guy in the room.
No, come on now.
Okay, we have waters back here at the back. Kenny, would you all like to have a water?
Josh,
And we're gonna,
I think I'm good. Do you want one?
okay, just through that door.
my glasses keep fogging up. I can't see with these masks.
I know, the mask and the glasses are a challenge.
That was so weird, Renette. I didn't even see you. I didn't recognize you with your mask on. And I hear you behind me, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, what is this? So, Josh,
I'm gonna hand those up.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then whatever.
yeah, I printed 8 because I knew the 5 plus you, and then a couple extra. So,
They share. They're happy to share.
okay. Pass these up. Are you gonna
Pass those up.
All right.
Nope, right here,
Let me ask you something real quick.
one here, and one for each of those tables. It'll be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that works. Perfect. Okay.
All right, ready?
Okay, Catherine will give you a 5-minute and a 3-minute warning when it's getting close to time, so that if you want to ask for questions, you can.
Okay, so I was just going to clarify.
25 minutes total.
Okay, about 20 minutes for presentation, 5 minutes or whatever.
Or you can do it as long as
Or
you want.
we can do 15 minutes if we want.
Yeah, as long as you want, but then she'll give you 5 and 3.
She'll
Okay.
just give you the 5 and 3.
She'll give us the 5 and the 3. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started then. First of all, I'd like to thank you all very much for giving us the opportunity to come visit with you and introduce you to studio architecture. We are extremely excited about this opportunity, and we look forward to working with you on some really exciting projects. First thing I'm going to do is introduce you to the team. We'll talk a little bit about our experience and then our approach and our process to doing projects. And then we'll wrap up with why we believe studio team is the right team or the best team to partner with on these projects for your district. So studio architecture was founded in 2001. We're going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary this summer. We're almost legal, almost. But anyway, we are in Midtown, located in Midtown, Oklahoma City. We've got about 17 people in the firm, and that includes architects, interior designers, and our administrative staff. For all of our engineering design, we work with outside consultants. Our team, this is specifically the folks that we have identified, and how rude, I forgot to introduce my partner Joshua Hill. He's a principal at Studio Architecture as well, and he is on our team. I will be the principal in charge, and I will also be serving as the lead design architect on the project. I've got John Kostick, who will be serving as project manager. Shelley Stevens is our lead interior designer. And then we have Stephen and Connor. Stephen is a newly licensed architect, and Connor is an associate architect or an intern architect. They'll be supporting the team. And then, as I mentioned, Joshua Hill is on the team as well, and specifically, if there happens to be any projects that are athletics related, he is our go-to guy, our expert for athletics projects. As I mentioned earlier, all of our consultants are out of, not in our office, so we work with a variety of consultants. And what I would say is, on the screen, we've identified some consultants that we work with on a regular basis. We've had some very good success on projects, and we like working with them. What we would do is, based on the specific project that we're dealing with, we would tailor the project team to the specific scope of work. Some of our consultants that are on here, like KFC Engineering, I believe you guys are familiar with KFC on some projects. They're a larger structural engineering firm in town. They're really good on just about anything that you can throw at them. And then there may be some smaller projects that are on your bond project list that are, again, smaller in scope. 360 Engineering is another fine structural engineering company that we work with. They're a smaller office, and maybe they're better suited to the smaller scale project, or specifically to what the challenge or the problem is that we're trying to solve. So that's why you see a variety of engineering consultants on there. We also have identified 2 landscape architects, Howard Carter and Site Design, and PLS. If there are any projects, if we need to incorporate a landscape architect into the team. And then if there are any projects related to food service, we would work directly with your food service consultant provider. Currently it's Sodexo. And if that's who it is in the future, again, we would work with them. We do that on our university projects where they have food service involved, if they have the contract, and we've worked with them in the past. On some of the experience I'd like to point out or introduce you to our firm is, first off, some master planning project. And this is kind of, it's a little bit funny, it's like coming home for me to talk about a master planning project, because that's how I first got involved here at Deer Creek, was thinking about the long-range plan for our school district, or for your school district back in 2008, 2009 timeframe. This was a master plan that we did for Mount St. Mary's High School campus, and it's not a unique situation to Mount St. Mary's. I mean, Deer Creek has some similar characteristics where, as the school has grown, particularly here at the high school campus, things over time were just kind of, placed wherever available land was, and it wasn't necessarily, a master plan forethought. So we see some opportunities on your campus, particularly if there's any projects related to the high school or the intermediate school, where, again, looking at the master plan, campus plan, and programming, planning, thinking ahead, so that when you make a move and you do a project, you're not putting something into place where you might find out 5 years from now it would have been better suited for another expansion of the high school or another facility. This is a project that we did for Wilson Elementary School in downtown Oklahoma City. It was part of the MAP program. Again, we're kind of showing some of our experience where we're doing additions, renovations. At Studio Architecture, our experience is quite broad in education. We have a lot of higher education projects, not as many what I would say pre-K through 12 projects, but the ones that we do have that are pre-K through 12 are quite good, quite nice. one of the things that we do in doing a project is before we ever start drawing or putting any lines on paper, we get to know our clients first. That's the most important thing, I think, is building that relationship, talking to you, learning about who you are, and identifying what the problem is. And your projects are unique to you. We don't come to the table with preconceived ideas or notions. As I said, we're good listeners. We listen to you and what the challenges are that you're facing, and then together, collaboratively, we'll come up with a solution that solves your problem and create some really nice spaces for your students, faculty, and staff to spend their days. This project was a bit unique. I mean, Wilson is an arts integrated elementary school in Oklahoma City, and so part of, again, telling the architectural story about Wilson was how do we integrate that whole concept of arts integration. And in the picture that you see, there's a corridor that was linking the addition to the existing facility or the existing campus, and we utilized colors and the idea of the story of Peter and the Wolf and music, and each of the colors represent one of the characters in the story. So again, it's just little things like that that I think make the project special and unique to the client. This is a project that we were involved with for John Rex Middle School. They came and asked us to do a renovation of the space where they had outgrown, or the students in their elementary school program downtown at John Rex Elementary were moving beyond elementary school age, and they needed a middle school, and they didn't have a place yet. So they had partnered with the Myriad Botanical Garden to utilize some space on their campus in their building, and they were going to lease that for a few years. So I showed this project because I think it's a good example of on a short schedule, a tight schedule, because you need to get kids into a space and a pretty tight budget, how you can kind of re-envision an existing building, an existing facility, and how you can repurpose it so that it is, what its past use is now. That was not a school building facility before, but now it is. And the space is up at the top right in the picture. I think it's kind of interesting. They had some existing corridors that were quite wide in the building, and they didn't want to spend a lot of money of moving walls permanently, since they were only going to lease the space for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And so we looked at how do we utilize those extra wide corridors and then creating learning spaces, and we developed learning lounges where students could actually leave the classroom. They've got the visibility from the classroom for the teachers out to the learning lounge corridor. It becomes a flexible, fun learning. And then this is just another example of some of our educational type spaces. This is for New Covenant United Methodist Church in Edmond. This was their children's facility. Again, kind of listening to them, learning about who they are, the church, their culture, and creating a fun and inviting space for the children of that church. And it all centered around this treehouse concept, which you can see in what a great, wonderful space for kids to congregate together, fellowship, and learn, other than, a treehouse. And these are one of our projects down at OU. Again, it's just an example of a project that is a food service type space. We know that some of your projects may involve renovating cafeterias and kitchens, things like that. And a couple of our lecture type spaces down at OU on the OU campus. So I'll let Josh talk a little bit about our athletic experience.
And so as Kenny mentioned, obviously the criteria or the future buildings have not been set, at least to our knowledge anyway. And typically there is some type of athletic program in there, and hopefully there would be. In this scenario, this is the new Neil Patterson Stadium, soccer stadium at OSU. certainly a larger scale than probably some of the projects that a school district would do, but it certainly shows the capability and the different elements that go into the building. For example, this stadium seats about 3,000, and it has a variety of seating, whether it's fixed seating, bleacher seating, berm seating. It even has a few suites and a couple of different club levels as well. Incorporates kitchens, concession stands, home and visiting locker room, as well as player lounges, just to hang out on a daily basis and do their proper nutrition and all that stuff. This project is the Woodward baseball complex at the Crystal Beach Park there in Woodward. This is actually just a small piece of the larger master plan that we did. And the master plan included tennis courts, softball complex, aquatic center, and multiple playgrounds, as well as a rodeo arena, all of which were built and designed by Studio. This particular baseball complex, though, it's a 5-plex, and you can barely see it, but the upper left-hand corner, lower side of that image is hard to describe. But that also includes a baseball stadium for the American Legion, which is, high school age, incorporates locker rooms and, some press boxes and things like that just to play. But what I want to point out about these images is obviously there's a lot of things that go into athletics, and we got to think about ticketing, fan amenities, sunshades and bleachers and concession stands and kitchens, and so the baseball park here incorporates everything. Oh, let me skip that. This is the Griffin Family Performance Center. It was a 17,000 square foot addition to the Lloyd Noble Center. It's mainly used for strength and conditioning and performance. It's a weight room, a nutrition center, and you can see on the picture there's some basketball courts. There's actually some state-of-the-art equipment in there that will measure their jump and how far and what that, I guess, pounds per square foot is that they're jumping and all that stuff. So very high-tech equipment that goes into some of these things, and certainly displays the capabilities of the work that we're able to do. This slide is just an additional list of some of those experiences that we have in education as well as planning. As you can see, we have 3 major universities on here: OU, OSU, UCO. And I think what's important to show or take up from this slide is that we're very diverse, and I think Kenny was alluding to this, very diverse in our portfolio. And all of these incorporate classrooms and labs and lecture halls and kitchens and cafeterias, and so office spaces. So these are all very integrated pieces that we're capable of doing.
As I mentioned earlier, in our approach to designing projects, the first thing that we do is problem. We want to visit with you, really understand what the project issues are that we need to solve, what the problems are together. And we do this through, again, as I mentioned earlier, programming workshop, developing the budget. We know that this is a bond project, a bond election, so we would work very closely with your construction manager on concept to basically establish what that list of projects are and what the associated budgets are for those projects. So obviously, when you go to the voters, they want to know exactly what they're voting on and what they're buying. As the project, after the election passed and you move on into conceptual design or schematic design of the individual project, design development, construction document phase, all along that orange bar along the way is an opportunity at the end of each design phase where we visit with the construction manager. They get a set of the documents at that time. They'll review the drawings, look at the budgets, make sure that we're still on track as far as what the proposed budget was for each project, and that we're still on track for the project design schedule, and ultimately the construction schedule. And as I mentioned, at each phase, again, the construction manager is involved in the design process. It should be stated that they are an integral part of the design team right from the beginning.
We all understand that the budget is absolutely critical to the project. This slide actually indicates some of our most current projects and kind of where we fell into that bid category. As you can see, we were fairly close on all of them. To be perfectly honest, there's a few on there that were just slightly above budget. But I think it's important to note that we have worked with all the contractors or the construction managers that you guys will be interviewing later today. So we do have a good working relationship with them, and they would handle obviously cost estimating, as Kenny said, throughout the project. But what we'd like to do is also do in-house cost estimating as well as a checks and balances along the way, just to make sure that the contractor is catching the current design and that we're all on the same page. We also use a lot of BIM modeling. All of our projects are BIM modeled so we can get accurate square footage takeoffs of materials, which leads obviously to no surprises when it comes to bidding. And then, usually we're stretching the budget. The clients like to stretch the budget as far as possible, and we can identify alternates to help with that process and ensure bid success.
So why use the studio team? Well, it's pretty easy and obvious. We want to be your partners in these projects as you move forward and as you continue to grow as a school district. We have this passion for architecture. We love what we do. Every single one of us at our studio, at our office, absolutely love coming to work. It's not even like work. It's fun. We enjoy it so much. We're available. We're ready to get started on your projects and work with you and the construction manager that you select to establish those scope of work and budget. And I would say no bait and switch. Josh and I will be on the project from start to finish. And then last but not least, stewardship. We understand that you guys do a lot. It takes a lot of effort to stretch the dollars that you get for education, and we appreciate that. We do our best to maximize the benefit of each dollar that you spend on your facilities and to the enhancement of each child's education. So with that, that's our presentation. If you have any questions, comments that you guys have?
How do you see the difference? You guys have quite a bit of upper education experience, college. What do you see the difference between K-12 and design? Is there a big difference?
So I would say, let me first say, I personally have more PK or pre-K through 12 school experience from past employers. I can't show that experience on a slide presentation, but what I would say is, yeah, there is a bit of a difference in how the spaces are utilized in pre-K through 12 versus college, but I think ultimately what at each level of education, what people are looking for the most is getting the most flexibility of how that space can be used. And that's, whether it's a kindergarten classroom or a lab at the university, at Oklahoma State University. Josh is working on a lab project right now up there. The most important thing is We listen to you all, the experts in education, and together we will design and solve that problem. And what I will tell you is the thing that doesn't change about whether it's a school building for kindergartners or elementary age, high school, or colleges, you want to select or have an architect that is really good at designing buildings and putting buildings together so that you don't have any problems in the future with parts, maintenance, upkeep, and just, the cost to operate facilities. And we're very good at designing buildings that last.
Thank you guys very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
It was good to see you all too.
Very good to
I
see
will let
you.
you know that my daughter is not so excited about coming back to school 4 days a week. At first, she hated, being home for 2 days, or at school 2 days and home 3. But then she kind of fell into the groove, and now she's like, I said, Madison, I'm like, that's just the way it is. I'm like, you really should be back in school as much as possible. So.
You have our email address, right?
I will say, after my time on the board, I got rid of that Deer Creek tent. I didn't want to listen to any of the rigmarole. Oh, sorry. and it's been a blessing. I let Tiffany keep me updated on everything. And like I said, hats off to you all in a very challenging time. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Plus, I told her, I'm like, spring break's around the corner. I said, it'll be summer vacation before you know it.
Yes, I think they'll all be good once they get back in the swing of it, but they did kind of figure out like a college schedule, what that feels like, and yes, she got a little time management experience early.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Okay, we're going to pause and take a little restroom break and a lunch break. Do we have food here? Okay, that's perfect. So if you want to turn your mics off for a moment, and if you will hit a pause, we will reconvene in 30 minutes.
How's everybody doing? Can I take this off? Like, I'm afraid I'm going to suck it down my throat breathing so hard up here with this. No. Yeah. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous, no. Yes, I thought about that. I'm like, well, Renette smelled me out too quick. Corey slurred out there.
Do I need to call us back to adjournment?
Like,
Call us back
Do
in
we
a
have to call
second.
roll?
No, you're just, intermission's over.
Okay. All right, we're going to have, intermission is over at this point, and now we're going to go to the construction management companies. The first one to be talking will be CMS Willbrook Construction. You guys will have 25 minutes. She'll give you the 5 and the 3 minute mark.
okay.
Will it take you that long? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I hope not. No.
Just kidding.
And 25, is that allowing you all time? for
Yeah, that
questions?
So-
When she gives you the 5, if you want to allow for questions or however many
That
minutes.
includes questions, yes.
That includes
Okay.
questions, so when she's holding up 5, we're close to question time if you want to allow a little time for that.
Well, I think we'll get started, but you guys stop us at any time if you have questions.
Okay.
We'll definitely give time at the end, but if we say something, y'all want to stop us, please, go right ahead.
Yeah, so, we're good?
We're good.
Finished your lunch or dinner? Okay. Well, thanks for having us. Like Corey said, we just want to keep this very informal. Most of you already know us, so just make this a conversation, and we'll just keep the evening just very comfortable. So anyway, we are CMS Willbrook. Thank you for letting us come visit and share the evening with you. Just real quick to recap who we are and who our team would be for your next bond issue. We have Terry Dehart, President, or now CEO, I guess, and founder. Weston Dehart is his son. He is the president of our company. I'm Christy Callan, Vice President of Pre-Construction. I've been with the company for 21 years. As your last bond issue, I would be a face that you would see from the day that you hire us, and I would be involved during the pre-construction and all the way up through until construction starts. But I'm always around. I'm always the person to make sure that we have all of the people at the table, the resources that you need, and still just that continuity for public relations and throughout your community and things like that. We have Eric Williams. Eric is our specialty for estimator and estimating in our K through 12. Eric was also at the very beginning of your last bond project, and Eric works behind the scenes. He is at the table, and some of you have met him, but he brings the numbers to the table. So he works closely with Jordan, your bond counsel. He works closely with the finance side of it, and he works closely with the administration.
He listens to your needs, and he's talking with the industry to know, forecasting what might be happening, you know, in the economy. He's looking down the road to see how material prices are going to be affected when we're going out to bid, but he's also communicating that information back to the design team and to you guys so you can make good choices as that design is being developed. So when we go out for bid, those projects do stay in budget. And as on the last bond project, that showed to be true because that's how you guys got all those additional projects down the road. So, and then Corey, I'll turn it over to Corey, but he would stay involved too. He's that continuity from pre-construction into construction.
Thank you, Christy. So Corey Pivniska, project director. So basically on one of the phases, just as Christy has mentioned, that's there from the beginning. So when we interviewed last time, I was part of that interview process. And one of our promises was I'd be that face to stay from the beginning all the way to the end. And that's basically just kind of keep that communication flow going from hearing pre-bond, bond, and then pre-construction into boots on the ground, getting that project built for y'all. So just kind of helping keep the flow and hearing the needs and wants and making sure by the time we get to the end of that process of that building being built, the district got what they wanted. So Tyler Cotner, next to me, project manager. He was on the middle school project for you all, and then also the 4th and 5th grade elementary project. Sean Vick is another project manager that's been out here with you all working closely with the district, is a project manager that we'd like to continue staying out here. And then Dale Smith, superintendent. He's where we're staying right now, the superintendent on the additions here at the PAC. He's also the superintendent over at 4th and 5th grade. He's currently one of your superintendents at the Grove Valley addition and remodel. So good person to have. And then Kent Dalrymple, we always like to add, he's our safety director, 42 years experience in the industry, so it's a good person to have on staff, keeping us all safe.
So just real quick, we wanted to show a few of our projects. I know Danny was here when you guys hired us on the last bond issue, but the rest of you didn't get to see our portfolio. So we're going to start with your projects. We know that they were successful and we delivered on our promises that your patrons voted for, and we were able to turn back about 6% of that to move towards other projects that were not on that bond resolution. So how did we do that? Well, it started with Ernie Design Project, and you brought us up to the table at the same time as the architect. So you guys did it right, and you're doing it right again this time. So we start at the table, and our position is we want to hear the needs, we want to hear the wants of the district, and then we take that information and we stand right beside you, whether that's land acquisition, we are walking the sites with you, and we are feeding that information about, yeah, this land might be really affordable, but is it affordable by the time you bring utilities in, or is it in a floodplain? You're not really going to be able to build a building on it. So that's information that we bring that you can make a good decision against. And it goes behind the scenes that you may not see up front. That's valuable information that we can help bring to the team. And then again, as design continues, we're providing those updated estimates, continuing to refine that, and again, put that project out for bid, those projects, and then turn them into construction. As construction continues, we do the fun events. As you can see, we did the top out for one of your projects, where we had a beam signing party, and then we also do the groundbreaking event, and then we turn these over to very successful projects that will stand, for a legacy for the district. Another project or a district that we've been involved with for the last 4 bond issues, so over probably 12 to 15 years, is Middell. I have been their program manager for them, so I've been involved with all of that. I wanted to point out Clover Creek, which is down in the lower corner, the lower corner, that exterior picture. It was a new build. It was on a site that did have an existing elementary school. And so we built this school before we demolished the other. But what was unique about it, which is similar to your 4th and 5th grade, or maybe, well, what was unique about this, not quite the same, but it was, we built Soldier Creek and another elementary simultaneously. It was 2 elementaries, one set of drawings that was the exact same school, just a few blocks apart from each other. And that was the interior picture right next to it. So it was very fun. It was very bright and innovative for Mizzell. And another thing about Mizzell that was unique, or that's very similar to your district, is that there were several projects going on across the district at one time. So we managed ongoing projects, multiple projects, over a 2 or 3 year span, all finishing on time and all staying within their budget. Bixby Public School, jumping over to the east side of the state, this one was very similar to your 4th and 5th, and it was ongoing the same time yours was over here as far as construction. It was a $34 million project, and it was it was an elementary and an intermediate school under the same roof. It also had 2 gymnasium and shared some common spaces, and they just recently opened this past year.
This one is the new Cedar Taylor Elementary. We're working with your neighbors right down the road in Etna Public Schools. This is a 63,000 square foot, $17 million for the elementary school. They hired us as their first CM in 20 years. For 20 plus years, they've done hard bid GC work, so we're pretty proud that they kind of brought us on board as a pilot for their hopefully continuing CM contract.
Yeah, so kind of speaking a little bit more on what we do, obviously we build buildings, and Christy hit on some of this. I won't take a whole lot of time, but a lot of work is done early on. So exactly what you guys are going through right now, we get hired and start working for that pre-bond planning. And that really sets up the success for all of us. Taking the time, hearing the needs, getting good estimates together, getting good schedules together. So we hear the wants, we see what makes sense, when to start what, when it can open, when it benefits the district the most, and just really putting out a bunch of scenarios so everyone can kind of work together on what makes the most sense addressing the district's needs. So obviously a lot of stuff happens before we break ground, and I think it's just important speaking to some of that, because like I said, that kind of sets us all up for the success. And then so the bond gets passed, we start those projects, working with the architect, working with bidders, getting the project bid out, and from that point forward, just working it as any project that we've done for y'all. So we can speak to that further, but I think you guys understand a lot of work goes in early on, and I feel like we're pretty successful with all that.
Go ahead. Oh, you can speak. Oh, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So communication, this is when the fun part starts for me. This is kind of a brief weekly look ahead. On Mondays, we have internal meetings just between the project team. Tuesdays, sub-meetings, and then Wednesdays, we have formal meetings. So I feel like that's kind of one thing that sets us apart is we're pretty detailed in our communication through every person on that job site as well as the owner. You guys get all the wrap-ups on Thursday and Friday. Friday, we're always some kind of a schedule look ahead to keep everybody in the loop.
And on this slide, just basically speaking, safety, probably, everybody's going to talk about safety because it's important. From the middle school, adding a second floor, to working right here in the middle of y'all's campuses. Just that it's important to us, keeping everybody on track, keeping everybody safe. So happy to say 0 accidents, time lost in the last 11 years. That's something we're very proud of.
So just to wrap it up, we are a part of your district. We're happy to be here. We want to continue to be here. We've provided those placemats with just some fun pictures, that we've been integrated with, whether it be, helping the Boy Scouts achieve one of their badges, whether it be, we didn't put the taco truck there, but, just to help the teachers, they, just to have them, make them feel good on having to deal with some construction, and supporting the Blue Tie Night, and then just a lot of the events that you guys host, the golf tournaments. We just feel we are a part of the district. We are a part of the Antlers. And so just wanted to reiterate that. We did provide some of the quotes from your staff as far as, and then on the back page there, we did get a couple of the recommendations from your principals that we worked closely with too. So and a few of us do live here in the district too. So we just wanted to reiterate that. We want to continue to be here. And why CMS?
Yeah, just kind of help recap. Just, 4 years ago we came to y'all with a bunch of promises. And y'all had references that we gave you to check with. And to speak on the principals, we thought it was nice of them to give us what they said there, because I think that's some of the best references we can give y'all, is your staff. And so we can't say thank you enough for that, what they said about us. I think it just shows the continued hard work that, like I said, 4 years ago we promised it. I think we tried very hard working together to just make this district successful. And mainly to set you up for what's happening right now with one big part. So you're going into this next bond. Everything that was promised before we did. So that doesn't mean we're complacent. I think we're as nervous as ever to be here in front of you, because we worked very hard and we want to continue working hard for you all. Yeah, I think that just kind of speaks on a lot.
You guys have any questions for us?
Any questions?
I would like to say, I don't know how many times I heard Raymond say, our superintendent would stop a project or stop something if the color was going up or the masonry wall was going up and he didn't think it was going to be to her liking or her quality. He would stop the work and call her up and tell her she needed to come down here to take a look at that before we went too much further. So I do think that speaks to a level of understanding that he knew what the quality was, and before we got too far down the road where we wasted time.
She has that effect on us, too.
I would like to say that's not true, but it is true. And I've had many a text or a call going, you'd might as well just come look now. And so, but it's been great because we solved things before we got started. And there was once or twice when I finally said, so what's your real opinion? And he would have to say he won one or two. So, because he had some really great input for us. He also saved us. He works early to late, and we had a fire started in Cheer or Palm. I can't remember which one, but it's this building. And because he comes here at the crack of dawn, it was smoldering, and he saved the building. So,
That's maybe.
we worked well together on those things.
Yeah.
So it's true. It is true.
Thank you very much.
Those things happen in district.
Well, it was
Thank
just a
you.
little thing, but he was really Johnny on the spot on that. So it was good, and it was just a person that made a little mistake, but it could have been a big one, and he solved it. So we were thrilled about that.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you again.
Thank you.
That's Dale in the can code. Dale does send me a text.
Oh, okay. He still does every now and then.
Yes, he's in the can code. And
Next will be Lingo Construction Services. Just for old time's sake, we can just text.
No, he's on the Grove Valley thing, so we've already
Oh.
met. We still meet. We still meet. He's meticulous, which I really appreciate. Really scary. And he's dealt with me on a few colors, and he knows a slight shade off is really hard for me to do.
Yes.
So, there's Stan.
Hello.
Hello.
We have some water at the back. Would you all like a water before we begin?
Oh, yes, go right ahead.
That may be a work to do a try, because we're going to have to do
Oh, for next year.
maybe that's what that is. That 5 is, that's the most important.
That's the
So-
most important, well, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir?
Thank you very much.
Everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, you'll have 25 minutes, and then if you want to stop at about 20 so we can ask questions or somewhere in there, she'll notify you at 5 minutes and 3 minutes. Okay? Okay.
So just do
She's-
this and then-
She's not waving at you, she's telling you 5 minutes.
Well, thank you for having us here. I'm Stan Lingo, president of Lingo Construction. A little bit about Lingo Construction is we started our business in 1998. I am a structural engineer, so I always thought I'd be a structural engineer in life, and started off on the path to be a contractor in 1998. My wife and I started our company. She's still involved every day in our company, and we've grown from very humble beginnings to today being a company of about 100 direct employees, about $140 million per year in revenue. So we're a company now of horsepower and scale that can complete the projects that you have for us and what we do. If you look at the first page, you'll see some of the work that we've been doing. Putnam City schools, Bethany School, Oklahoma Baptist University, Southern Nazarene University. But really the signature of our company is really that we are not ever a one and done company. We are looking for entrepreneurial type owners that are going to do repeat projects, creative projects, projects where we can lend our talents. Next to me is JP Craig. JP is dual degree architecture and construction. He joined me about 10 years ago as we were working on some oil and gas projects, and he's right at my side in pre-construction. And so we use my engineering background, JP's architectural background, both of us being pretty creative builders as we shape and work with the architects that we're going to work with to kind of shape what the project's going to look like in pre-construction. Katie Walker, who's next to me, is going to be the project manager for you. Katie's strength is really about being a bulldog. She has built the Girl Scout Western Girl Scout campground for us. Was her last project. She's currently on Western Gateway Charter School down in the Wheeler District. She was very involved with 21C and the Heritage Trust building, the old General Record building downtown. So Katie is very experienced. On the second page, you'll actually see some of the projects we've been involved in. We've tackled significant size ground up projects, historic renovations. Really, we're not after a project type, we're really after a relationship with an owner. And that's who we are and what we pursue. Go to the next page. There you can kind of see the resumes of our team. Also not with us tonight, but is Tom Berkeley. He's our Vice President of Operations. His job is really to support Katie and the superintendent and that everything that JP and I commit to, he delivers, and that is his job. Tom has been with us for 15 years. He joined us very early on in Lingo Construction, has been an integral part as we grow. We practice lean construction methods, very reliant on subcontractor participation. We don't believe that we're the boss. We believe that we're a team member that's leading the path to success. But that is our team. So we'd like to really highlight one of the recent projects we did. This is Capps Middle School for Putnam City. It is at, excuse me, in MacArthur, in between 63rd and 58th. And when Putnam City came to us, they had not selected the architect yet. They had about 5 concepts for how they'd like to use this 40-acre site. The site had floodplain issues. It had severe slope. It was a very challenging site. And so LWP&B was the architect that came to the project and basically proposed a scheme of a building on both sides of the creek with a learning center spanning the creek. And I know LWP&B has been here, probably told you some about this school already, but the challenge really with this project was the site slope. And so how Lingo really contributed and helped this project come together is if you go to the next page, you'll see that when we started this project in 2018, it was started at 46,000 or 46 million. It grew to 54 million through increased size and scale. They added additional square footage. And then we realized that we needed to get the project back to 47, but we really did not want to cut different pieces of the project. And so we studied the site, and we actually did in-house grade takeoff. We looked at how we could modify and balance the site. We saved over $1 million in dirt work without cutting any of the use or function or layout of the building. And so that was a real win for us. We tackled then the same thing with utilities, how to use the utilities out of War Acres and to save about $500,000 there. And then we tackled the bridge structure, which is really a bridge, and looked at how to change the truss design using our engineering principles, and we were able to save money there. And so we were able to take this project back from 54 million to 47 million without cutting any square footage and not really compromising the finish, the integrity, or the function of the building. And so we started in construction. During construction, during the first 198 days, we had 41 rain days. And in spite of that, due to lean construction principles, we were able to maintain budget. In the end, we returned over $750,000 to the owner on this project. Finished on time and very much below budget. About 3/4 of the way through the project, they added a second gym. And so we started the second gym and finished it 3 months after the first project was finished. And so very successful there. The reward to Putnam City is they then hired us to actually manage all the other contractors they have working for them. They are a school district that use multiple contractors. And so they hired us to manage the other 4 contractors that are actually working on the job site. And so that's the confidence and faith they have in us for the work we do. The next project we'd like to show you is Western Gateway School, and I'm going to let Kenny talk.
So as Stan mentioned, I'm currently the project manager on Western Gateway Elementary School, charter school in the Wheeler District. Single story, and on this project right now, it's currently under construction, still on budget, on time, even with recent weather that we've all experienced. So that is fantastic news. So specifically with Western Gateway, we were brought on very early on in the design phase. It had a quick turnaround just through design and construction to get them open for the 2021 school year. So we were involved, JP, Stan, and I were involved really early on through all the design development, schematic design, construction document phases, multiple budgets throughout, and we were able to work closely with the architect to make sure that we are finding solutions as we continued on to make sure that we're still in budget on the project without taking out any key elements. Some of the ways we did that
it is a wood frame school building. Now we know your school is probably not going to be wood framed, but by doing that on this project, we were able to keep some of the other elements that were designed and what they were going for. There is a tilt-up storm shelter that serves as the rec room as well. It's got kitchen equipment, the cafeteria in there. The other thing is they've got canopies along, like custom canopies along the two sides of the building. So we were able to work with local steel fabricators to design those instead of going out and doing like a prefab steel structure. The brick design on this building is really intricate as well. So just again, that's some of the stuff that we were able to keep in that project, and we were actually able to do brick on all four sides, which wasn't part of the original design on this one. So so far, everything's been really successful. Schedule, we're doing a block schedule currently, so we're finishing out framing on one end of the building, and actually on the other end, we're dried in and sheetrocking, so we're able to move around the building in construction and just keep us on schedule.
I think some of the things we want to talk about tonight is really about your project, not so much about us. And there was three things, and we've heard a little bit about what your project may need coming up in the future. And we believe there's three key things that we want to talk about with you and your design team. And some of these pieces, we know you currently have standards, right? You have a list of finishes, you know what you want. But in terms of design, there's probably two areas in which maybe we can help with and get some direction to, and we would go to the building geometry, some of the site planning, and then really the facade and the roof, right? The more fenestration, the more levels, the more changes of space, that just creates transitions in cost of materials. You all know that, but I think during that pre-construction process, we're able to give insight of different ways to do things with the architect. That way you can still keep some of the key design elements, but maybe there's a different way to spin the cap. So if you look at a building geometry, right, obviously a square is the most economic based upon four equal sides, right? I mean, it's simple things, but as you look at the design of the building, how can you put some of those initial geometry thoughts in place? And then the height requirement, right? And there's other, you see C is empty there. Basically, there's other things in building geometry. We don't even know what it's going to look like yet, but how can we help talk through the geometry? What's the most strategic structural system in terms of bay spacing, right? Is it 33 foot, is it 35 foot? So we can help with that. Then site planning, where does the site get based upon utility location? Paving and sidewalk quantity, right? All these things tend to go up and go down and fluctuate with the market. So how can we help minimize the amount of paving and sidewalks? And then of course, cut and fill. You saw that on the project that Stan mentioned, DCPS, middle school, is how can we keep the dirt on the site? How can you keep from bringing special dirt in? How do you balance the site? A big facade and roof, right? The fenestration, how the windows fit the building, what's the square foot ratio between brick, metal, all those different types of things. And then material detailing and brick transition. But really, we just want to jump into why Lingo, and honestly let you guys have some time for questions, so we're rushing a little bit, I apologize. But really about Lingo is why us. One of the things, from my perspective, is once we work with an owner one time, there's trust and collaboration. And once that trust and collaboration happens, there's great success because we work together again and again and again. And so part of our system or our process talks about standards, right? Lingo does certain things, the owner does certain things, the architect does certain things. We all have standards. What's the scope? What do we actually build? Right? What do you want? Is that getting translated into the drawings? And are we pricing the correct thing? Schedule. And spurs. I like spurs because sometimes people need to be spurred along. We're your leaders, and we help spur. And then solutions. There's always problems in construction. We don't come sit the monkey on your desk. We give you solutions and ways to get through the problem. But I think the biggest piece of this is just trust. And I think you can see that through how we develop trust with all of our owners, and we just continue doing work for them after we do one project.
I think I'll close and say that, as an example, I think that's a great way. I think we are known for our hard work, not really the compromise that doesn't for you to be a solution. Our desire, if you look at the work, and I think probably have seen the work we've done in that group, is normally highly detailed, and that highly detailed doesn't mean we spend more on building. What it means is that we look at efficient ways to build things that we put the money with Western Gateway School, a charter school at the top time. It's being built for like $180 a foot, and it's highly detailed, very unique. That's what the owner wanted to do. And so it's like, how do we pull that off? We're building a school in not enough, start to finish. So time, hard work, trust, and just openness. Okay? You will always see me when we're doing Lingo Construction. You won't see hand it off to somebody else. This is the team you'll see. You'll see JP and I, and Katie, who you can tell is pregnant, is you'll see us in pre-con. Katie's going to have a baby this summer and be ready to be right off the flight. So this is, you're not playing bait and switch with people. You'll see me and I will know your question. I just presented the technical tools and switches all the time. And if we're tool myself, do a project, answer the question on the staff. So that's what we allow them to do. We welcome questions. I know we flew. Actually, I'm talking really fast. So I felt the pressure of time, but I'll answer any questions you have. Right? So,
Any questions?
Stan, it's good to see you.
yes, welcome to
Thank you.
give us a shot at the project.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.
No problem.
Stan is soft. He's just you don't have any presentations about anything. Because you're going to find that all your people are excellent people. All the candidates are excellent.
I know.
Good evening.
We're waiting on one board member to come back. Just to let people know who are watching, this is the Manhattan Construction Company.
Yes. It really is.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Hopefully you guys can work it.
Our president.
With the way.
Our president.
Yeah, no, it's really. Okay, so you'll have 25 minutes.
Okay.
That's to include questions. So she's going to tell you when 20 minutes is up. She'll give you the 5 and the 3.
Perfect.
Okay?
Perfect. Are you going to have 10, 15 minutes of questions, or is that?
Yeah, it's 1 to 2.
They're pretty short on the
One
questions.
1 to
so-
2 at the most.
Yeah, they,
Oh, are we ready to
Yeah,
roll?
go ahead. We're ready to go.
Great.
really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you for allowing us to present. I'm going to introduce the team as we go through the presentation. I really want to start off by asking 3 questions. First, what if your construction manager can't provide the guidance that you need to optimize your program, to give you, in essence, the most bang for the buck? Second question is, what if you put all your eggs in one basket and fail to realize the highest level of competition in this program? And then third, what if you settle for business as usual and you miss out on the opportunity to have this program be truly great? Well, we realize this isn't the typical building program. You have some very specific goals, and with that, we understand that you're looking for certainty. You have this program that you're trying to optimize. We understand that there's overcrowding, and that we're trying to increase the square footage, maximize square footage with the available funds to reduce that overcrowding. It's also important to create competition, to get, in essence, the most bang for the buck, to maximize a very competitive construction landscape that we have right now. And you also need certainty and creativity, coming up with solutions, not just problems, but solutions and creative ideas. So with that, the agenda for today, I want to introduce our team. We're going to want to run through our approach as it goes to pre-construction and that guidance on the front end, and then talk about what we would define for your program success. So, is there anything else I need to hit? Is that good? I've never had anyone answer that question and say, yeah. So let's just jump in real quick. As Oklahoma's oldest construction manager, since 1896, we've had the opportunity to work with some very fine school districts, most recently Norman Public Schools, Noble Public Schools, Muskogee, Broken Arrow, some tech centers, War Norman, Southern Tech, and some of our numbers and statistics. No one has more experience than construction manager at risk projects. In the last decade, over $2.5 billion in this delivery method. You see the K through 12 stats. We've done 56 projects just in the last 10 years, almost $500 million. Big numbers, but what I want them to make sure we communicate is we have the experience in the construction management delivery method. We have the experience in K through 12, but that bottom number is probably the most important. That's 4.2 bids per package. Now, if you're not a construction person, what does that mean? Well, that means we are generating a lot of competition on every single bid that we take. You always, the old adage, my grandpa used to say, you always got to get 3 quotes. Well, that's kind of substantiating our ability to generate that competition. Want to shift gears and talk about your project. It's kind of enough about Manhattan. That starts with introducing the team. I'm Craig Abbott. I'm the Vice President of Manhattan Construction here in Oklahoma City. My job is really to ensure that accountability, that everything we say that we're going to deliver here today, that we do. We meet your expectations for quality, for safety, for budget, for schedule. With me here behind me is Brent Collins. Brent Collins is our operations manager. He's that old gray hair that knows how to build everything. He fixes his own cars and changes his own oils. He comes with those solutions. He comes with that experience across a wide range. He's my problem solver. He's that guy who's always going to come up with a solution. And then Mike Holland, project director. Mike lives here in Deer Creek. He's had 1 graduate from the system. He's got 2 here in school right now in the Deer Creek Public School. He's the project director. He's going to be your single point of contact. And Mike is that go-to guy, that communicator, that liaison throughout the process. He's he's that thread that runs from pre-construction all the way to the end of the project. I don't want to spend a lot of time on each of these individuals. Obviously, they couldn't be here tonight. This is our proposed team. All of them with K through 12 experience, all of them with Title 61 experience. For those who aren't familiar, Title 61 is the state statute that defines how these projects are delivered, the procurement method. So an excellent group of builders. They're all aligned with the schedule. They're all most of them are coming off of Norman Public Schools, and so they have a lot of K through 12 work. But these are the people who are going to be building. putting the bricks and steel in and managing the construction process. But we like to say that anyone can build it. Almost anyone can build it, but it takes, where the challenge is the programming and getting that set up right. That all takes place in pre-construction. That's what Mike's here to deliver tonight.
Thanks, Greg. So I want to thank you guys for bringing us in on the CNN at this point again. So most of the time, the owner hires an architect early on, they wait, hires a team later. That time, during that time, we lose our ability to go through the program and guide the owner where they should be going. So I want to compliment you guys on that. So, like Craig said, your number one deal is total cost. So from the start, we're going to sit down, we're going to assess what to do. We're going to look at building options, what side options there may be out there, go through all that before we determine, before we even get to our conceptual budget. That conceptual budget is going to be the budget that directs you where you guys want to put it. 1, 3rd, 4th grade center, in middle school, whatever it may be. So we'll be there to assist you all the way to optimize your value for your project. Okay, Craig said value for competition. We've all done Title 61 our whole life, our whole career. We know it in and out, all the steps it takes. We'll bring that additional subcontractor participation. Each CM will have their own followers, right? Contract heads will have their favorite subs. We've got our subs. We want to bring more competition for this. So this right here is our trademark proven methodology for pre-con work. Each step represents a step that has to be taken, and we've learned over the years. If we don't, there could be a problem. So it's all mapped out. We know what to do from day one all the way to construction. One of the important ones on the bottom right, I want to hit, is the subcontractor bid packages. Those are real important with Title 61. Building those in a certain way that you can get the maximum information from them. So again, this is just our proven methodology for our business. So all this will lead to cost certain. That's what you guys do. Pre-con is told big piece for the project. Knowing what you can spend, where to spend it, getting your most for it, but it's making sure you're filling all the gaps so that you guys can make one. This is a quote on here from Justin Miller, Norman, that we're in the middle of the French we'll talk about in a minute, but basically just repeating what I just tried to sell there, but putting it in action. Reliable cost information, confident decision, reliable and marketable action. So when we first started talking about this job, we were notified a month ago, really looked at different ways to approach it. So, we are able to do this whole job, the whole bond, but we think for the best interest of Deer Creek and for its people, that if there was 2 CMs under Deer Creek, there would be more competition, we'll have a lot more comparison between the 2 CMs. We'd have a larger subcontractor base, drive competition, lower the price, so that you guys can get more square feet. So we're open to that, and that's really where we need to make that point. One of the things that I'm from Deer Creek, I've been here for the last 12 years, and I think it's important that people on your job are vested with the project company. I have a lot of history with you guys, like to have more, so I think it'll be very sensible to you to be able to project. I'll now give it over to Brent to talk about
We did want to share with you a case study and to reinforce a little bit about what Mike was saying about the idea of competition. When we went through the interview process with Norman Public Schools, they brought us back in and basically said, we've interviewed you all, there's 2 firms that we really like, we want to work with you. What do you think about the opportunity to split this bond package up? And we told them the exact same thing that Mike just said. We think it is a really good idea to split this up. It gives us some opportunities to really diversify the approach. Their bond package is much like any other bond package. They are all very, very specific in most occasions, and they're all very specific to the different systems that they're needing to serve. Their system was really needing, and their bond issue was heavily focused on storm shelter. So by hiring 3 different design teams and 2 different CMs, they were actually able to get very diverse and very different approaches to the different scales of the storm shelters that they were needing. So in that bond package between Bolt and between Manhattan, we have now built ICF storm shelters, we've built precast storm shelters, and we've built hybrid storm shelters with precast and steel. All those were very scalable in the cost to get them the most bang for their buck. The other thing that it did is because they were negotiating with both of us simultaneously, it made the cost structures very transparent. It allowed them to negotiate with both of us and get the best fees, get the best cost structures and the general conditions of the staff costs, and really made sure that as much money as they could possibly negotiate into the real cost of work went into the cost of work. As Mike alluded to, every CM or general contractor has a subcontractor or trade partner following. Not every trade partner works for every GC or every CM out there. So by having both of us in play on the bond package, we brought a very large group of subcontractors to the market. We had in excess of average of 4 bids per package. They had the same success in most cases. And what it did is it really made sure that there was enough resources for the school system to get everything that they needed when they needed to do it. They have a very aggressive schedule. They're trying to complete everything in 3 years. And if the subcontractor field wasn't fully fleshed out and didn't have enough bodies, it was never going to happen. That brings me to the final point. It also gives every CM in play the best opportunity to provide you with our best and brightest. We all are very proud of our employees. We love our construction family dearly. But when you start talking about stretching your resources out in a very compressed time schedule on a lot of jobs, it makes it easier to start to divide those resources amongst a couple of different firms. That way you've got the best people that everybody can bring to your bond package that they possibly can. And here you see a quote from Justin Milner kind of explaining what that thought process was and what he believes the benefits came out of it. We really pride ourselves in the idea that we are your advocates. We want what is best for you, not just what is best for Manhattan. So hopefully you'll consider the idea that we brought to you tonight with some competition advantage.
That's really to circle back how we plan to set this program up for success. It's multiple construction managers. I mean, I'm pretty sure you didn't expect us to come here and say we don't necessarily want all your work. Okay? I mean, that's what works best for Manhattan. Give us everything. Give us all of it. We want it all. I really don't think that's going to work best for Deer Creek. It eliminates the competition. It eliminates the transparency. And multiple construction managers, you kind of have that accountability, right? You have that give and take, and you bring different solutions. And it may even work with design teams too, not just construction managers. Multiple design teams, multiple ideas. Taking all those. Go ahead.
So explain to me. So we want to build a school, whatever school. So how does that work? How do you? So we go to this CM or this CM, or you both put a deal? How does it work?
Well, the way I understand it, there's an opportunity for more than one project, right?
I would assume so, yes.
That's correct. There's definitely an opportunity for some wings on some projects as well as 1 or 2 other full projects.
So just to use Norman Public Schools as an example, because that's where we're at right now. Manhattan did high schools and middle schools, and then another contractor did elementary school. For this instance, one construction manager could do the new construction, another one could do the addition, right? So.
You split it up beforehand?
Split it up beforehand, right.
Yep.
So that avoids the, oh, that's not us, that's them kind of problem.
Right, you wouldn't have two construction managers on the same project. But, 5 minutes? But yeah, so, maybe one project goes to construction manager A and the additions go to construction manager B.
So then if you do that, how does that really, how does that make how does that better competition if you just have, like, if you have all the grade schools, the competition is going to be the same if you had the whole thing?
Right, so where the competition comes in is, like Mike alluded to, Manhattan's going to have their band of subcontractors that are loyal to them.
Mm-hmm.
Contractor B is going to have the ones that are loyal to them. It's just kind of a loyalty thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that brings in multiple subs. The sub market, qualified subs are few and far between. And so we want to be able to spread that out across, our qualified subs and construction manager B's qualified subs. Same thing with resources, right? I mean, we have great people, but you start putting multiple people on multiple jobs and spreading everyone out. Like Brett said, we want the A players on your jobs. You want the best and brightest on your project. We don't want to dilute that talent pool with one construction manager.
If two CMs that get proposals for two different projects at the same time, you guys are going to see what they're charging for X, Y, and Z, stuff that we're not even, that other stuff are competing for, stuff that's criminal conditions for fees, that kind of stuff is supposed to be able to be here. Well, they're here, why are you guys here? That's competition.
Have you worked with the other CMs that are presenting tonight?
Let's see, we've got CMS, Lingo, and L5. Yeah. We haven't worked with them specifically on a joint CM test, but we've seen the model. We've seen the model work. It's looking exceptional. I know public schools between us and Bolt, which is the primary competitor. I know Corey could miss this. We actually coached together on our kids softball team. So I know Corey is so on way. So, we're all speaking the same language. Yeah. So, that's doing my clothes, driving competition, kind of optimizing programming. Hey, construction manager A, what's your idea for the best way to maximize the square footage on this building? Hey, Manhattan, what's your idea? Well, and you start getting good brains and you really ginning up the idea. So that's really all I have for tonight. I want to leave you with this. I don't want there to be misconceptions. This job may be small. We don't want all your work. We want what's best for your group. And I know my best. And that's one of the things we discussed as we were pulling this together. And so 85% of our work is repeat clients. And we're convinced that, hey, if we get in here and start working with the group, that we'll build that company. So we've got some questions, but is there anything else?
Question? Any more questions? Nope. All right. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Mike.
Bye, Mike.
I know. It was mentioned in that one phone call, so.
I
But,
like the creativity.
yeah, it was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Last one.
Next speaking will be L5 Construction. It's 25 minutes, and she'll tell you 5 minutes and 3 minutes, and that 25 minutes includes questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Ready.
All right, evening everyone. We've made it to the final round. We're almost done. My name's Dave Crabtree. This is Sean Driver, and we're L5 Construction. This evening we're going to go over a brief introduction of L5 Construction, some of our experience, a bit of our personnel, what we feel makes us different. Hopefully give you guys some time to ask us some questions.
So since we're a little bit of the new kids on the block, wanted to give you a little bit of a background on how L5 actually started. I'd love to tell you that we had this really strict business model and this game plan laid out, and then we acted on that, but ultimately it sort of happened organically. In 2009, I'd recently left the Air Force and went to work for a local developer here in Oklahoma City, doing more property management work. And he called me one morning. He said, "Hey, I think we have problems at one of the buildings he was working on. I need you to go by and check it out." No problem. And I went by, and one of his concerns, or his main concern, was the fact that the sidewalk slopes didn't look to be appropriate. It looked like we had reverse slope back to the building. And so just pulling up, walking up to the project, was like, yeah, we have a problem. We could see it. So I called the project manager at the construction company that was building the building and said, "Hey, I think we've got an issue." And ultimately, the project manager wasn't very concerned. Like, if you're just looking at it, you can't tell that just by visually inspecting it. I'll send the superintendent over, who should have been there but wasn't at the time. And so he gets there and he said, "Man, the sidewalks are fine, and I'll prove it to you." I said, "Okay." So he runs in, he grabs his level from the back, and he takes his 4-foot level and puts it on the sidewalk. And let's say that the building is over here and the parking lot is over here, and the bubble immediately goes to the parking lot. And he goes, "See?" And I stood there for a second because I thought he was messing with me. And for those of you who don't do like work, maybe remodels yourself, the bubble goes to the high side. And so I picked up the level on the parking lot side just to sort of exacerbate the issue, to show him what the problem was. And he goes, "Well, I'll be darned." And so we went back to the office, and that's ultimately how the construction company was born. It was born that day. It was like, listen, if we're really going to control this, and we're really going to own it and deliver a good product, then maybe we just need to do it ourselves. And so that story, what's kind of funny, shows a lack of PM involvement. It shows a lack of superintendent training or knowledge. And what was really sort of shocking at the end of it was the superintendent asked me, he said, "Well, so what do you think we do about it now?" And so from that point, we brought construction in-house. And so from L5's inception, it was a construction management company. And so that's just how we had to look at it. So with that said, we want to give you a couple of examples of some of the projects that we've done.
One of the first projects we're going to talk about tonight is 7725 Connect, which is actually the remodel of the old Lucent Technology plant at Reno and Council. It's roughly a 2 million square foot building that we've been remodeling for the past few years for the ownership group. Year to date, we've done about 400,000 square foot of remodel work in there, ranging from 7,500 square foot office spaces, full-blown cafeteria, and some government contractor jobs, one of which was a 60,000 square foot space and actually completed in 60 days. They required that in order to keep a contract that they actively have with the government. So we were able to mobilize and get the entire process from demo to done in 50 days.
Oak Grove Plaza was a complete design-build project, which consisted of over a little more than 70,000 square feet, of which was the interior build-out of the Sprouts Farmers Market, which included all of the interior work, refrigeration, casework, the whole thing. It also included the straightening and stabilization of 550 linear feet of Blue Line Creek. And so that required the coordination not just with the city of Oklahoma City, but also with FEMA and the Corps of Engineers.
The next one is Floor and Decor and the master plan development of that property. Floor and Decor itself was a $6.8 million construction project for a 75,000 square foot tilt that was the first of a much larger 100-acre development, which we master planned with those owners, worked with the city to extend city streets, additional city utilities, and actually had to focus on working with architects and engineers going forward to set all of the utilities for those future developments to make sure everything was there as possible. The next is Liberty National Bank. We built our Oklahoma City branch location. It was a $2.6 million ground up, about 8,000 square foot. A unique component to this was the waffle slab foundation, which, as it sounds, is a waffle that is excavated and monolithically poured. So all of your MEPs have to be coordinated underground prior. A lot of extensive coordination up front. Had great high-end finishes like trim work, custom cabinetry, and a lot of cast stone for this project. But a cool component was definitely the banking vault. One of the items that was interesting for us personally in the coordination was having, on behalf of the owners, to coordinate with the city of Oklahoma City to get all of their detention ponds taken care of, properly engineered, and then constructed according to Oklahoma City rules and regulations, as well as boring underneath MacArthur to extend new water mains.
So right now we're working for MAPS. We're down on the river doing whitewater facility improvements. That improvement includes the full build out of the second floor and a partial build out of the first floor. We've erected 2 exterior docks, one of those that overlooks the Oklahoma River. The other one overlooks the Whitewater Rapids, which, as you know, is an Olympic Training Center. And so they're going to have special events up there to sort of overlook that part of the project. We've also installed a 60-ton chiller, and we'll be installing Oklahoma's only snow ski machine at that location. So just one of the things that, working in an existing building in a tight area, but really fun project. Spring Creek Baptist Church, wanted to bring this up because of the safe room aspect. So this would be our 3rd safe room in recent years. The first being T-Mobile's corporate data center down on Meridian and Edmond Public Schools Frontier Elementary. This project required on-site inspection and approval from KFC Engineering, which was the structural engineer on the project. They had to be involved in that process in order to make sure that we achieved our FEMA rating. This project was also on a select list rebid, and the only difference was there was no scope changes. So the owners rebid the project. The first time it was bid out, it came in over budget by a couple of $100,000. They rebid it. We were allowed to bid the second time. Unfortunately, we brought the right resources to bear. We're able to deliver the project on budget, and we're able to move forward. And so it was a great example of everybody working together on who needed to be at the project. Duluth Trading Company. This is a ground-up project. It was the first prototype of a reef built in Oklahoma. We utilized structural masonry components, which included a new drainage matting system that was placed on the inside of the CMU, which was new. It's an example of how construction is constantly changing, which is fun for us. There's always new materials and techniques being introduced. And ultimately, the project was completed ahead of schedule, even though some severe rain delays down here. And we were able to get the store open on time. Heritage Hall, the Community Tennis Center. This was a complete design-build project as well. We worked with Heritage Hall staff, the coaches, the donors, in order to come up with the project requirements, the design, the cost, the schedule. Additionally, our scope actually changed and grew through the course of the project, and that was because of sort of the momentum and excitement that came with the project itself. And so it expanded into locker rooms, bleachers, polished concrete on the inside, lots of different aspects, so that sort of just grew organically with sort of that movement. And it was a success mainly because of the team atmosphere that sort of went into building the project.
Weatherford Public Schools field house renovation is a recent project that we just wrapped up for them. It's a $1.1 million project of remodeling an existing built-up structure, roughly 10,600 square foot. We ended up having to complete this project on an expedited schedule in order to get them in there early enough to use it for the football season, ultimately what it came down to. And so we were, a late bid led to a tight schedule, and we were able to meet that for them without any increased cost at the time. This project included structural masonry components. It was a modification of an existing geothermal HVAC system, as well as included custom components like steel lockers and backlit made steel pipes. Frontier Elementary Phase 4 Edition. This was one of our Edmond Public Schools projects. It was a $2.5 million project, roughly 10,000 square foot addition and remodel, and 4,000 square foot of it was FEMA state grant. This project was actually completed with one change order, and that change order was L5 giving back $48,000. This resulted in us being interviewed with Edmond Public Schools for an ongoing contract as their CM. Since then, it's been awarded and now have 2 active projects within one CM. One of those projects is Summit Middle School. It's a $3 million, 10,000 square foot storm shelter addition. Has some interesting concepts like structural precast panels. It requires a lot of coordination up front to ensure everything's in those walls, so that once they get capped, they're all said and done and there's no modification. This project will be completed during school operation. It utilizes some additional components like concrete piers, FEMA-rated doors, windows, and shrouds. And although it's recently underway, Edmond Public Schools already has seen an increase of their owner's contingency by 15% due to L5's value engineering, as well as coordinating a rebid of their utility package according to Title III. Heartland Middle School Classroom Edition. This is a project that is currently underway with Edmond Public Schools. Ground-up project that has 2 additions on the same site, opposite sides of the school. One's a 2-story addition, the other is a single-story. However, the structure we're building on that single story is for a pre-planned addition of a second story later. This project is on pace to complete 2 months early, even amidst the 2020 COVID crisis.
FD Moon is a project that's currently ongoing. It's the last for the Maps for Kids project. It is a 7-phase project, which was sort of designed to allow the school to remain open while the renovations took place. The school, which was originally built in 1963 and at one point slated for demolition, had never been renovated to include any code compliance issues. So noticeable improvements include a completely brand new fire suppression system from the main, because the original building did not have one. It will have a new elevator. There's quite a bit of asbestos that had to be removed. And it also included all the new ADA upgrades to make sure that the school is compliant after we're finished.
So that's a few examples of ongoing work or work completed. Some of our personnel information. In addition to the 10 superintendents we have in the field, we have 4 project managers in the office. We have a senior estimator. We have a staff accountant. We have a business manager. And we let Sean make sure that we have a good golf game. In all reality, Sean steers the entire company. What we wanted to speak to on this personnel level is L5's lean structure allows us to keep our general conditions low. While a fee is negotiated with all CMs, general conditions are not alike among the companies. So our operation, however, allows us to take down some of the larger, our way of operating allows us to take down some of the larger projects.
So how are we different from some of the other folks that you guys have spoken to? And ultimately, it's basically the culture in which we were founded. We have sort of a unique perspective. From the beginning, we had to look at things differently. We had to look at things from the owner's perspective. How is this going to function years down the road versus that first year after the project's completed and we're looking at that warranty period? That's not how we operate. So based on the culture, our folks are sort of uniquely experiencing the construction management piece of things, because it's not just how can we be a construction manager. That wasn't the initial thought process all those years ago. It was how do we build a better mousetrap? So through all that process, we're used to working with architects and engineers. We appreciate that process. Those folks do not have an easy job trying to sort of take everybody's input and draft this plan that everybody can buy into. So we like that part of it, where you're lending your experience to see how we can do this as a team. How can we do it better? And so that last bullet point says, when thinking of many instances of projects that go down the hall, what does that mean? So our development company is still literally down the hall from us. And so while most of the folks that came in, and we've been a lot of experience obviously in the first two companies came in, they're all works. But what differentiates us is the fact that we have to look at it from the owner's perspective, because just like some of the projects we showed you tonight, and I hate to admit how many years have gone by already, but we still live with that. And so that's what we kind of bring to the table. It's not just from how do we build it, but how do we build it, maintain it, and what is it going to look like 10 years from now when we're ready to do the next stage. So with that, we just kind of like to open it up for questions and see what we can do to fill in the blanks.
Any questions?
Good presentation.
Very good. Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Very much appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Alex Moore.
Do what?
Alex Moorhead.
Alex Moorhead.
At school. At.
Begin.
Again.
Gotcha.
That
I gotcha. Gotcha. I'm sorry, I was joking.
And he graduated in 29 graduates.
Not too far from Cordell.
Well, you guys have any questions, concerns? Feel free to holler.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I was still blank.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here and putting this together. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second. Barnes,
Yes.
Sneed, yes. King,
Yes.
Slay, yes. Bamford, yes. Motion carries 5-0, and the time is 7:30, 8:30. What? I don't know why I have a job.
I don't know what time zone you're in, but